North Dakota State played in Normal, Illinois, the conditions were far from normal. The Bison won the Missouri Valley Championship that day in 2017, but this year, the rigorous road to a 9th straight conference title begins at Illinois State, as top-ranked NDSU opens up Valley play against the number 6 Redbirds, and it's coming up next.
Get your horns up! Tailgating in the parking lot. Now that clock is ticking down. The boys are ready to go. The energy in here's electric. Let's get on with the show. Get your horns up. The green and gold are back in town. Get your horns up. Pumped up and ready to throw down. Toss that corn up in the air. Bring the boys up to the line. Hold their horns up high because it's Bison time.
Hello and welcome to Hancock Stadium in Normal, Illinois for Missouri Valley Conference football here on the KVLY KFYR Bison Television Network. North Dakota State #1 on the road taking on number 6 Illinois State. Brian Shawn, Lee Timmerman with you. Ryan Gellner will join us from the sidelines. And when you get to Valley play, LT, things get ratcheted up a little bit.
It certainly does. You would maybe want to ease into the Valley, but the Bison don't get the opportunity to do that. This Illinois State team is very good, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
You talked about how disruptive Illinois State is defensively. 20 sacks, leads the FCS, 34 tackles for loss. But on the flip side, North Dakota State has only given up 11 plays for loss this season, so it's going to be good on good.
It certainly is, and the Bison in that running game, that'll be the main thing they want to focus on. NDSU obviously does that. 70% of the plays that Tyler Roll have called this year have been running plays. The Bison don't think they will have to change that this week, but it will be probably a little more difficult to get those ground yards against a good Redbirds defense.
Romeo McKnight, by the way, for Illinois State defensive end, leads the Valley in sacks with 5 so far this season. On the flip side, for North Dakota State defensively, they're going to be facing a Redbird offense that is down a couple of guys in the receiving corps, and the focal point will be number 25, James Robinson, who's one of the top backs in all of FCS.
Yeah, the amazing thing about Robinson, if you ask me, of all the running backs in high school in the history in the state of Illinois, which is a bunch, he has more yards than any of them. He's now a senior here, and he is the guy that really gets it done. And if the Bison could shut Robinson off, force Brady to put the ball in the air, that's a good thing for NDSU.
For 6 years.
The North Dakota State captains heading to midfield. James Hendricks, Ty Brooks, Derek Tuska, and Ben Ellefson for the coin toss.
And in support of Nicholas and thousands of other young men
Luther
like
Kirk,
this debilitating
JT Bolkin, among others for Illinois State. Brady Davis, quarterback, senior transfer from Memphis. Came in last year, was able to get an extra year of eligibility, so still just a junior. And talking to the North Dakota State coaching staff, they believe he is much better than he was a year ago after having a year under his belt in this system.
Yeah, we mentioned it in the pregame show. Davis did struggle the first couple of games out of the block, but then last time out, Northern Arizona basically said, all right, if you're going to beat us, Davis, you're going to have to be the guy that does it. And he threw for over 400 yards and, yes, indeed, scored 40 points and beat NAU in that game. So Davis is certainly capable. He's not as good as the guy that we saw on the opponent's side the last time out from UC Davis, but he does have some ability to get the ball moving through the air.
One other top 25 Missouri Valley Conference matchup today, Youngstown State and Northern Iowa. That should be an interesting game to start things off as well.
Yeah, that is a very interesting matchup. That's the one that when you take a look at the Valley, there's good thing you only have 2 eyes, because you want to keep your eye on the one you're watching right here and an eye on the one between the Penguins and the Panthers too.
And is tradition, the two teams head to midfield to shake hands before kickoff. Illinois State will have the football first. And the Redbirds most certainly will try to establish James Robinson on the ground early. And it'll be interesting to watch both teams, offensive and defensive lines, slug it out here in the first few drives.
It's the one thing we don't get a chance in the pre-conference games usually to get that big slam game, and I think this is one of those games where the big guys in the middle will certainly determine how this thing plays out, because both sides feel that their offensive lines and their defensive lines are good enough to win today, and truth be told, we don't get to see that very often.
Well, Brock Spack, the head coach at Illinois State, in his 11th season from Purdue, second all times in win in Redbird history, and he is 50-12 at home. There's a look at Brock Spack. Spent time as also a defensive coordinator at Wyoming LT back the good old days.
Brian and I were talking about that. I'm like, when did I first come across Brock Spack? It was back, I believe, in 1996. I went to Laramie to do a story on Steve Cluten from Bismarck St. Mary's playing for the Cowboys, and Brock Spack was it was his first defensive coordinator opportunity under Joe Tiller, and then he, of course, followed Tiller to Purdue, and then coming down from Purdue to be the head coach here at Illinois State.
Matt Entz on the other end, 4-0 in his first season as the head coach.
Matt, the FCS Assistant of the Year last year, and leading the Bison defense to another national championship.
Kevin Brown back deep. Garrett Wegner will do the honors to get things started here this afternoon. And the cloud covers come over here in just the last few minutes. It's been a mostly sunny morning, a slight breeze. Not sure how much that's going to play a factor in things. Rain is on its way, but likely coming after the game ends here today. And as I say that, the wind blows the ball off.
I was just going to say, you said slight breeze. It depends what you're looking at. If you look at the U.S. flag, that baby is really blowing. It would be off to your left. And then if you look at the flags that are on the goalpost off to our right, they're not blowing much at all. You have to believe the ones off to the left, because there's a pretty good wind, and I would doubt that these guys will have an opportunity to even return this one. There's a little bit wind helping him.
Wegner will boot it away. A Peterson Farm Seed kickoff. Kick off your planning season with Peterson Farm Seed. And as LT alluded to, that ball kicked out of the back of the end zone. And the Redbirds will start on the 25-yard line. Let's take a look at the North Dakota State defense, sponsored by Shields.
Logan McCormick, Kimberly, Wisconsin.
Cole Karch, Germantown, Wisconsin.
Jack Darnell, Champlin, Minnesota.
Derek Teska, Warner, South Dakota.
Aaron Mercadale, Oakland, California. Jackson Hankey, Park River, North Dakota.
Jabril Cox, Kansas City, Missouri.
Marquise Bridges, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Michael Tutsi, Indianapolis, Indiana.
James Hendricks, Bemidji, Minnesota.
Josh Hayes, Lakeland, Florida.
Robinson getting the carry, pushing the pile ahead for 5 yards. Aaron Mercadale getting in there on that tackle for North Dakota State.
Number 25, James Robinson on the carry for the Redbirds.
Robinson has been a workhorse in his 4 years here at Illinois State.
From their own 29-yard line. Number 93, Logan McCormick.
Already his 80th carry on this young season.
On the preseason Walter Payton watch list, that's how much the rest of the country knows about his ability to run the ball as well.
Jacob Carl getting the start at fullback, and he's in front of Robinson here on 2nd and 4. And Robinson trying to sneak away. Jabril Cox took him down about a yard short of a first down, but a good strong run there for the senior out of Rockford, Illinois. Went to Lutheran High School. And as you alluded to, over 9,000 yards rushing in his high school career.
He, as we take a look at Davis's numbers. Go ahead, Brian.
Brady Davis, the completion percentage right around 50%. Those numbers sponsored by the North Dakota Beef Commission, funded by beef farmers and ranchers. Had a huge output last week, 419 yards 2 weeks ago against Northern Arizona. 3rd and short. And Robinson pushing the pile ahead, gang tackled at the 38-yard line. Good enough for a Redbird first down, and North Dakota State will swap out 4 new defensive linemen. Illinois State offense sponsored by Shields. We talked about Robinson and Davis. Some shuffling on the offensive line. Cole Anderson did not start the year as a starter at right tackle. They moved Adam Solomon inside to guard. Jared Reentz was right guard. He is now left guard. But maybe the most talented guy they do have is Drew Himmelman, number 71, a 6'10 junior. He's a giant. Play action for Davis. He's got time. Throws it back to Austin Nagel. Marquise Bridges stripped the football, and North Dakota State has Mercadal with the recovery.
Late flag, I think it'll be post-possession, probably a sideline warning type of a situation. I think the Bison are going to have the ball here. Certainly was a pick, well played by Bridges.
And if that does indeed hold up, that is the first fumble recovery of the season for North Dakota State.
Yeah, this will be Bison football.
The ruling on the field is a catch, fumble, and recovery by the defense. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct on the defense, number 55 for spiking the ball. His first of the game. That 15-yard penalty will be assessed. First and 10 for North Dakota State.
So that'll back the Bison up inside its own territory at about the 46. Let's take a look on the replay here.
See, Bridges kind of splits the two receivers, leaving the guy that going deep to the safety, then punches the ball out. And the Bison get the turnover.
Nodak Insurance Company replaying that. That was absolutely a catch by Nagel,
Yep.
so that will be upheld.
And he had to come so far back for the ball. Even if he holds on, it wouldn't have been much more than a couple of yards gain. But you saw Mercadal scoop it up, but then you heard about the spike.
North Dakota State will split out 3 receivers to the high side of your screen here on 1st and 10. Lance looking for Christian Watson, and these are aggressive corners from Illinois State. Devin Taylor batting that away. Let's take a look at the North Dakota State offensive unit, sponsored by Shields.
Trey Lance, Marshall, Minnesota.
Dylan Radens, Becker, Minnesota.
Nash Jensen, Osceola, Minnesota.
Carson Shooting, Raleigh, North Dakota.
Zach Johnson, Spring Lake Park, Minnesota.
Wardell Volson, Belfour, North Dakota.
Ben Ellefson, Pauley, Minnesota.
Garrett Mostrom, Burgess, Minnesota.
Ty Brooks, Fargo, North Dakota.
Christian Watson, Tampa, Florida.
Phoenix Sproul, New Hope, Minnesota.
Kobe Johnson, the true freshman out of Lawrenceville, Georgia, with the carry, only a gain of 1, maybe 2 yards. Will bring up 3rd and 8.
Well, we've talked a lot in the pregame show about John Ridgway, the big guy. The Bison just ran at him there, but in the 3rd and long situation, the nose guard Ridgway goes out of the play, and a new nose is in.
Illinois State bringing an extra defensive back, and now some pressure shown here by the Redbirds. Bison pick it up. Across the middle, Phoenix Sproles makes the catch in Illinois State territory down to the 39-yard line. Taylor on the tackle, and that'll move the chains.
Gain of 15 yards on the
So, Brian, you talked about that pressure, and the Bison did a perfect job of picking it up. Nodak Insurance Company replay. See the running back slide in front of Lance? Well, it was such a good job over there. I think it was by Johnson that he didn't even have to chip on him. Plenty of time for Lance to let that pattern develop.
Cole Jacob in motion. Stretch play to Ty Brooks, cutting it back up inside before he is turned back, but a good strong run there of close to 4 yards to the 35-yard line for the senior from Fargo South. And Trey Lance off to a tremendous start. 2nd in the nation in passing efficiency, 9 touchdowns, no picks. Numbers sponsored by the North Dakota Beef Commission, funded by beef farmers and ranchers.
Trey in the top 10 in the country as well, in a stat called points, responsible for 90 points already between running and passing, directly attributed to number 5.
2nd and 6 for North Dakota State. Gindorf and Ellefson, the 2 tight ends. Lance will throw it. Wide open man downfield is Gindorf. Touchdown!
touchdown.
There were some beautiful things happening on that play to get Luther Kirk thinking it was going to be a run. 35-yard touchdown pass, but Luther, the safety, comes up. Number 14, see if we see him. By the time he comes into the screen, it is too late. Lance has another touchdown pass. He's been so efficient through the air this year. And the tight ends now have caught 8 touchdowns this year already.
Crosa on for the extra point. Griffin Crosa is now 21 for 21 in his young career, and North Dakota State capitalizes off an early turnover as Trey Lance connects with his tight end. 4th touchdown of the season for the young man out of northern Minnesota. Bobcats scoring recap, 5 plays, 41 yards in a minute 59. Trey Lance's 10th touchdown pass of the season. And Noah Gindorf has 4 catches this season. All 4 have been for touchdowns.
Yeah, and the touchdown production coming from that tight end group is just phenomenal. I mean, 8 of them already. You mentioned Noah's having half of those 8, but also Elfson and you know, help me, Babbage with the other, you know, touchdowns.
Garrett Wegner on for another kickoff. Sponsored by Peterson Farm Seed. Kick off your planting season with Peterson Farm Seed. Proctor will let that one sail through the back of the end zone, and the Illinois State offense back out onto the field here. The Redbirds able to get a first down on 3 James Robinson runs, and then a critical turnover. Matt Entz has to like the way his team has come out of the chute here. Both of these teams have had 2 minutes to get ready, or 2 weeks to get ready for this game after a bye week.
You saw Mercadale come off, and then James Kaiser going in to play that will linebacker spot once again. Tutsi now coming down into the box as well. Tutsi got in there and slowed down Robinson. He's able to plow ahead to the 28-yard line, and tacklers just bounce off this guy sometime. He is a load, James Robinson, 225 pounds. See Tony Pierce, defensive end, redshirt freshman, getting a chance to get in there on that tackle as well. Well, speaking of freshmen, Robinson in high school was a 9th grader when Brocksback offered him a scholarship. So needless to say, he was on him early. Now, of course, they're both from Rockford, so there's a hometown connection that goes with that.
2 backs in the backfield. Davis trying to hang in there. He's sacked from behind as North Dakota State finally got to him. The Bison continuing to put the pressure on. Pierce was in there. Wagey was in there, among others. Jabril Cox may have been the first man.
You were about to say he's stripped because I think you saw the ball come off of his right hand, and it was in a dangerous position. From behind, he had to switch from right hand to left hand to keep a hold of the ball as the Bison take Davis down. And Brady's a kid that has shown the lack of ability to want to take very many hits. The Bison think they have that going for him if they can get to him a few times today.
Robert Gillum, the tight end, as the Bison look like they're going to show some pressure off the edge. Here comes Bridges and Hankey. Davis rolling, and that ball is batted away. Derek Tuska dropping into coverage that time with the pass defense, and a 3-and-out for the Redbirds.
That pressure, that blitz package is the first time the Bison have used it. Nodak Insurance Company replay off to your left. You see both Bridges and Cox coming after him. That is something new that the Redbirds have not seen. And if you're going to overload one side, you need help on the other. That's when Tuska drops from his end position, gets out into the flat, and plays a little corner there as he did a nice job with his lead arm to knock the ball away.
So JT Bolkin on for his first punt, junior out of Jefferson City, Missouri.
The Bison coaches could not be more happy that the first time they draw that up, it works, that blitz.
And the Bison came after that one. Trevor Height calls for the fair catch and makes it at the 37-yard line. So North Dakota State bringing all sorts of players to the punter.
North Dakota State takes over on the 10 from 37-yard line.
When both teams are obviously rush teams, you certainly want to have the ball and ball possession, and Illinois State just has not been able to hold on to the ball, which of course is a credit to NDSU's defense. Another short field.
North Dakota State coming out with Malmstrom and Ty Brooks, or is that Cofield maybe lining up in the backfield here on 1st and 10?
It looks like 18.
Cofield has been getting a lot more reps with Dimitri Williams out of the lineup, and nice strong run here for number 18, pushing ahead to the 44-yard line. Gain of about 7 yards.
Strong run and a strong finish, and also a very good adjustment, I think, from Cofield. You saw the power. The guard pulls out in front, and Cofield was able to bounce it a little bit off to the left.
Here's the starting lineup for Illinois State defensively, sponsored by Shields. Ridgeway, we talked about him. Tuvon Clark, Romeo McKnight, 2 guys that get after the quarterback. Their linebackers are good.
DeForest in the middle, number 50, is probably the leader of this team as well, even though he's not the captain, but he maybe should be.
North Dakota State trying to move the pile again and very close to a first down for Adam Cofield. That should move the chains up to the 47.
That's just big boy football right there. We think we can run straight at you and get 3 or 4 yards for the first down. The Bison didn't even need third down on that first job there. Getting ahead of the chains on first down, the key though. Bison with first down production, a key stat.
Tiptoeing through a hole and breaking free is Ty Brooks. He's going to take it 53 yards for the touchdown.
Touchdown on my number 28, Ty Brooks, covers 53 yards.
Nodak Insurance Company replay. Beautiful opportunity to see the hole. Malmstrom with a good block, and then the seams part. The Bison gets commitment from the second level, get a body on a couple of people in the second level, and Ty Brooks with the speed to finish it out.
James Hendricks in at holder, and he's going to take the snap and go for 2 here. Hendricks taken down by Luther Kirk, who was not fooled. So North Dakota State trying to make an impression here, and the Bison will lead at 13-0 as we step aside. NDSU a fast start here in Normal. 8:20 to go in the first quarter as Ty Brooks bolts in for yet another touchdown. 14th career touchdown for the senior from Fargo. Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. Bobcats scoring recap. 3 plays, 63 yards. Ty Brooks breaking free for the 53-yard score. Brooks, 11 carries for 104 yards in his last game against UC Davis. It's another Peterson Farm Seed kickoff. Kick off your playing season with Peterson Farm Seed, and this one booted out of bounds. And Illinois State will be set up at the 35-yard line.
There is a flag on the play.
Kickoff out of bounds on the kicking team. Ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
Show your Bison pride today with an NDSU Gate City Bank ATM and check card. Visit gatecity.bank/mycard. Gate City Bank, for a better way of life. Member FDIC. Matt Entz's crew coming out very fast here today against the Redbirds. Two big plays already, 2 explosive plays to score on.
But on the defensive side too, just getting reps out there. Destin Talbert is now out playing cornerback, so Josh Hayes is getting a break on a series. So it's one way that the Bison do to try to make those guys and keep your guys as fresh as possible late in the game.
Josh Hayes has had a busy week. He just had a child this week. Congratulations to Josh. Robinson, again, it takes 4 or 5 guys to stack him up almost every time.
Gain of 2 yards on the play. Brings up 2nd and 8 for Illinois State from the Redbird.
And Mercadal first one there. Tutsi came up from his safety position to get in on that tackle. I just keep thinking there's going to be a play action somewhere around here. So far, it seems like on first down, Redbirds are content just to get a 2 or 3 yard run.
Spreading them out now are the Redbirds with 4 receivers, including the tight end Robert Gillum. Davis dumping it off on a screen. Nice tracking from behind there by Derek Tuska. Gain of about 3 will bring up 3rd and 5.
In my conversation this week with Grant Olson, the linebacker coach, we started talking about number 91 Tuska, and he called him simply one of the best players in the country. And that people don't quite appreciate what he's able to do. We saw him defend a pass. We see him use speed here on what ISU thought would be bigger than a 4 or 5 yard gain.
It looked like he may have jumped off sides, and Davis is going to take a shot deep. And this one thrown out of bounds, but again, likely going to be a first down with Derek Tuska jumping off sides there at the snap.
I was looking at the receiver and corner battle between Haley and Hayes, and both guys had their shoulder pads pulled off, so they were both holding each other downfield that hard.
Hey, it's valley play, man.
Offside, defense, number 91. The 5 yard penalty will result in a first down.
That's a Toyota first down.
Did I just announce or jinx him? Because right when I was talking about all the good things Derek does, he popped off sides.
So a much needed first down for Illinois State here, ahead to the 46. Robinson busting through a hole and a shoestring tackle at the 50-yard line. Still a good pickup of close to 5 yards.
He is so thick through the midsection that he's hard to wrap up, and he bounces a lot. Nodak Insurance Company replay. You're going to see number 25 come in here, get a real nice hit, but he's able to run through that one. So if the second man isn't there for the Bison, I think that was Pierce on that particular play, then that one would break big. That's kind of how he had his big rush against NAU.
Proctor into the game, backup tailback, and he was the up back. A little quick hitter, gained about 3 yards. Proctor, a junior,
very different type of back than Robinson. He's fast. He's a change of pace type of guy. He has ability to be in the slot, but he's certainly not a 3-down type of back that Robinson is.
So another 3rd down and 3 here coming up for the Redbirds. Robinson now motioning to the other high side, and he is going to get the give. And he is going to be close, and he's got a first down to the 44-yard line of North Dakota State. And NDSU continues to shuffle in a line of different defensive linemen in almost every different 3 or 4 plays that you see from Illinois State.
It's a Toyota first down. Toyota.
Really pays dividends late in games when the Bison have the depth on that defensive line. And we mentioned that Barty Ogbu is not today, so they're one less in that rotation, but still, that's the deepest part of the defense.
Robinson sidestepping around a man, and now he's free. James Robinson finally tracked down by Jabril Cox at the 21-yard line, but a big pickup there for the senior as Illinois State continues to pound it on the ground.
Well, just because the Redbirds are down by 2 touchdowns, 13 points, they're not going to change who they are. First man in there, I think, was Mercadell, and I think Merck whiffed on it. We'll see if we see 55. Yep, he slides in there, it gets a little bit of a miss, and then Robinson will make you pay.
Tutsi walks down into the box. Delayed handoff to Robinson. Not much room this time. Mercadell was able to get into the backfield. Cole Karch helped finish him off for no gain.
I mean, the Bison defensive ends are so aggressive, and it's generally the position. You try to get upfield, create as much as you can in the backfield. But for a running back like Robinson, sometimes that will help you because your DNs may overrun the play a little bit and give you a cutback angle and make that gap that the linebacker's trying to fill even that much wider.
Already 9 carries for Robinson here in the first quarter. They're going to continue to pound it to him. Oh, another nice spin move. And he's got another first down. James Hendricks with the tackle to the 9-yard line.
Number 25, James Robinson on the carry. That's a gain of 12 yards. And Redbird.
Nodak Insurance Company replay. Michael Tutsi has been very aggressive in rolling down from his safety position. There he is, 25, but he misses. The spin move by Robinson to get back upfield. And then when you have a corner and a safety making the tackle, you're picking up a first down, and it's inside the 10 now for the Redbirds.
North Dakota State has been very good at limiting teams to field goal opportunities, only allowing 5 touchdowns through the first 4 games. That's tied for the best in the FCS. Robinson stumbling ahead, taken down for a gain of 1. Jackson Hankey in to make that tackle for North Dakota State.
25, James Robinson on the carry. Gain of 1 yard on the play.
Well, I mentioned as a general rule of thumb, you follow the guards, then you know where the ball's going. Well, that was a zone blocking scheme on that play by the Redbirds, and they used Atala, number 81, as their pulling guard, one of the big tight ends coming back through to try to lead that play. But the Bison did not allow anything to open up.
Jacob Carl in the backfield now. We'll try to lead the way here for Robinson. Robinson's going to get the carry again. Ball is loose! And this time Illinois State got back on top of it. Robinson did fumble last week and lost it on the first play of the game against Northern Arizona.
There is a fumble on the play. Recovered by
Haley back on top of it. Nodak Insurance Company replay. Instead of bouncing it outside, Robinson tries to get a cutback lane inside. And there's a lot of yellow helmets out there. I have no idea who poked it out. But Bridges in the wideout made both diving for the ball, and Illinois State kept it.
A lot of young wide receivers on the field here for Illinois State on 3rd and goal. Across the middle, and Davis just got rid of it, and he missed everybody. Well high out of the reach of, I believe it was Rukevich, the intended target. Will bring up 4th and goal.
Looked like to me Rukevich was trying to slow down and maybe sit down right at the goal line, but the pass was thrown already out in front of him, and he couldn't get back going again. They really like this kid. He's a freshman.
Sam Fenlison will come out for a 25-yard field goal attempt, and Fenlison 5 of 5 on the season. 4 of those makes against Northern Arizona here in Normal 2 weeks ago. It is down, it is booted, it is up, and Illinois State is on the board. 2:03 to go in the first quarter. It's 13-3 NDSU on the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. Time now for the Gate City Bank fan cam. Send us your home or watch party pics to NBCBisonOnTVWatchParty.com. That is NBCBisonOnTVWatchParty.com, and we'll show them in the 4th quarter from wherever you are. There is Derek Teska's mother, Stacy, in the crowd today, making the trip down from Warner, South Dakota. Pretty good contingent of Bison fans here on our side of the stadium. Booted away and into the wind. An opportunity to return it for Ty Brooks from his own 4. Brooks breaking free! Ty Brooks is off to the races! To the 20 and finally taken down all the way at the 19-yard line. The guy that ran him down for Illinois State was Jarrell Jackson. And NDSU was one of the worst in kickoff returns this season, averaging just 18 yards a return, and Brooks busted one.
He really had to make an adjustment on the ball at the last second, and then Ty Brooks gets a gorgeous block in a midfield. And the Bison again inside the red zone right here. And you know, into that wind, you know you're going to get an opportunity to return a kick and set up a kick return.
Taking 6 minutes, 17 seconds off the clock, culminating in the 25-yard field goal.
Boy, Brooks been a busy man already here today. Kobe Johnson in at tailback here to start this series. Short field again for NDSU. The Bison have active field positions, and then a play of game call on NDSU, and that'll back them up 5.
The Heller store is your #1 choice for car dealerships in Central.
Let's pause for a quick message from Tobolt Seed.
Moves the ball back to the Illinois State.
Tobolt Seed, family owned and operated for over 90 years. How do you stay in business that long? Hard work and integrity. Tobolt Seed offers Thunder Seed Enlist soybeans, Roundup Ready to Extend soybeans, Liberty Link GT27 soybeans, and Thunder Seed corn.
And there you see big number 99, John Ridgway, burying Kobe
no gain on the play.
After no gain.
Brings up 2nd and 15 for the Bison from the Illinois State.
Boy, Ridgway, only a sophomore.
You can't do it by yourself against that guy.
He is a monster. 6'7", 330 from just down the road in Bloomington.
And he's came into this game 5th on the team in tackles. I mean, nose guards are usually just plugging up a hole. No, he's bringing people down.
2 in the backfield now. Cole Jacob to the high side of your screen. Cofield tiptoeing through a hole. Down to the 20-yard line.
Number 18.
And 3rd and long coming up for NDSU. 3rd and 11 for the Bison.
Ty DeForest was in on that tackle.
Buying, building, or refinancing. Start with a Gate City Bank Blue Standard pre-approval and experience a better home loan. Get started today at gatecity.bank for a better way of life. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The reason I mentioned DeForest because Nash Jensen took care of him on that last long touchdown run. So if you get to the 2nd level linebacker, you're going to have big plays on the ground.
Just the 2nd, 3rd down opportunity for NDSU as we're under a minute to go. Lance surveying, stepping around a man. And now he's just going to step out of bounds and chased out of bounds by Stephen Podkolski.
Bison had 2 tight ends in the formation on the near side of the field. Both of those guys were covered extremely well. Lance had no chance to even try to force a window open with those big guys. They were guarded well.
So that'll bring on Griffin Krosa. A 39-yard attempt for Krosa, who is 5 of 5 in his young career, has a long of 46. This one is up, and it is good. How about this freshman? Holy cow, 6 of 6 in his career, and the Bison answer with 3 of their own after the long kickoff return from Ty Brooks. And it is 16-3 with 7 seconds to go here in the first quarter.
A little bit of a win, though, I would say, for the ISU defense. That's the Bison start inside the red zone and only give up 3 points. They'll take that.
Oh, Krosa, really a tremendous story. A guy that, again, came in January, graduated high school early, went through spring ball, was not really anticipated to be a guy that was going to have to contribute.
Yeah, no intentions of having to be counted on this year at all.
But a tremendous pedigree for Griffin Krosa. His brother was a kicker at Western Illinois. His dad was a Division I soccer player at Syracuse, and his grandfather was a professional soccer player in Uruguay. Bobcat scoring reclap, well, didn't move the ball much, just 4 plays, 3 plays, and 144, but it does end up in 3 points for NDSU, thanks to this team on special teams play by Brooks.
Yeah, of course, Jake Reinholtz was all set to be the kicker this year, and then in that first game at Target Field, and
Garrett Wegner will boot this one away once again, and it will sail out of the back of the end zone. And Illinois State will start on the 25.
Take over 1st and 10 at their own 25-yard line.
Boy, James Robinson, I don't know, Illinois State might give him the ball 50 times today on that pace. 12 carries, 60 yards already for the senior. Looking at that last drive, 9 of the 11 plays run were running plays.
I don't know if it's a win situation, but the Redbirds are very reluctant to put the ball up going in this direction.
Jabril Cox sneaking into the box. Here's a play action for Davis. Firing. Josh Brooks got in there to bat it away. Braxton Haley was the intended target. We'll bring up 2nd and 10, and there is 1 second left in Brock's back. Through his headset, he wanted a flag.
2nd and 10 for the Redbirds.
That was a tough a tough route to guard for Hayes, because he's trying to sell the out. Then he circles, does a little pin, circles and goes back to the inside on a little bit of a crossing route. So multi directions that the wide receiver was running, and Hayes stayed with him the whole time.
James Proctor now the tailback with Carl, the fullback here on 2nd and 10. Proctor going to get the carry. He's a little water bug and is wrapped up quickly after a gain of just 1, and that'll take us to the end of the first quarter. 3rd and long coming up for the Redbirds. And ISU trailing by 13 after the first 15 minutes of play here in Normal, Illinois on a cool but sunny and pleasant fall afternoon. Whether you're buying, building, or refinancing, Gate City Bank home loans are locally approved, financed, and serviced. Gate City Bank, for a better way of life. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Big 3rd down here coming for Illinois State from its own 27-yard line. 3rd and 8.
Yeah, it certainly is, because if the Bison can hold here and then have an opportunity to maybe grind something out on the offensive side and try to take some of this wind away from Illinois State in the second quarter.
And Illinois State has only attempted 5 passes so far, and just 2 completions for Brady Davis for 7 yards, and that's it.
But you got to remember too, I mean, Davis doesn't know who to trust out there. Andrew Edgar had 3 touchdown catches. Grimes had 1. So that's those 2 top receivers combined for 4 touchdown catches this year. How many has Davis thrown? 4. That's it. He hasn't thrown a scoring play to anybody else on the team, and they're not playing today. Yeah, so it's a whole new world.
Edgar out until at least November with a broken collarbone, and Grimes done for the year with a ligament tear in his knee. Bison showing pressure. Now Davis may change some things up here. We'll see if NDSU backs out of it or not. Here comes Marquise Bridges and dumping it off. And getting the first down is Robinson. Well executed and designed there by Illinois State. And Robinson up to the 45-yard line.
That's a gain of
Well, Bison showed pre-snap pressure up the middle. They ended up bringing the nickel player. That was Marquise Bridges on this particular play. He blitzes. Where is the screen called? It's called right where Bridges was. So ISU guessed right on the offensive play there to use the screen to get the first down.
Boy, big pickup there for Illinois State. Now NDSU quickly trying to shift everybody into motion here. Play action. Jackson Hankey giving chase. Davis is going to scramble towards the sideline and gets what he can. Forced out of bounds after a gain of 3 at the 47.
The athletic ability of Jabril Cox was the reason that he had nobody to throw to, because Cox is playing up in a press situation in that bunch, and then he turns and runs with the deep receiver, allowing the safety to come in and catch anything underneath. So here's a linebacker. You think, I got a fast guy on a linebacker, I'm going to take a deep shot. It does not work because number 42 is so athletic.
Proctor remains in the game as the tailback here on 2nd and 7. He is taken down immediately by Jackson Hankey for a loss of 2. That'll bring up 3rd and 10.
loss of 2 yards on the play.
James Robinson is so good at yards after first contact. Nodak Insurance Company replay. You put Proctor in there, Hankey's like, oh yeah, look at that. One arm stops this guy, and then I pull him back down. And that doesn't work against 25.
And the fullback, Carl, whiffed on the block of Hankey, who stepped right around him and made the tackle. So another 3rd and long for the Redbirds. So far, ISU 3 of 5 on 3rd down. Coming into this game, just 35% on the season.
The first 2, though, were short runs. The last one was that screen pass.
Davis running out of time, got away from Tuska, but not a second time. Taken down at the 41-yard line. I think it was Justice Kelly who helped Tuska with the sack.
Nodak Insurance Company replay. Davis is thinking, after I missed this first line, here comes, I believe it was Wagey, spins away from that. He steps up inside, and then Tuska's there once again. Speed from the defensive ends. Tuska runs him down.
JT Bolkin out for his 2nd punt of the day. Will have the benefits of the wind behind him this time. Trevor Height back at his own 15-yard line. Play clock down to 1. They just got it off. And Bolkin lines one down to Height, who's going to have a chance to return this thing from the 17. Height, flag comes in, and another flag comes in. So 2 on the field as Height got back to the 32, but this one likely coming back.
Yeah, the one I saw was a hold on number 14, Josh Hayes.
Credit Bolkin with 42 yards on the punt.
I don't know where what the other flag was, but I think that's what I saw first time on the initial flag.
Your referee of this crew today is David Siegel.
During the return, holding. Receiving team, number 14. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Good eye, Mr. Timmerman.
Well, Josh, you didn't disguise it very well.
Oh, we should mention Trevor Height as a returner.
Oh, boy, he's been special this year.
21 yards return, which is 6th best in the FCS, best in the Valley, and he's busted a couple big ones. For a guy that didn't even start the year as the regular punt returner, a walk-on from Pepin, Wisconsin, the junior, making some significant contributions on special teams. Cofield, another strong run. Luther Kirk finally drives him back, but the pile still moving ahead across the 25-yard line. Gain of 5.
Well, into the wind on the scoring drive, which was only a field goal for Illinois State. It was predominantly on the ground. I just have a sneaking feeling that right now Tyler Rowland, his play calling, wants to do the exact same thing to the team in red on this particular drive. I think he wants to grind it.
Zach Mathis, Jimmy Caparis, and Christian Watson, the 3 receivers, in on 2nd and 5. Lamb's going to throw it. Watson makes the reception, and he is able to slip out of 1 tackle and get close to a first down, and he's got it. That will move the chains to the 31.
Gain of 6 yards on the play and a first down.
9th catch of the year from Christian Watson. Your Nodak Insurance Company replay. And there where he breaks that, he gets his shoulder down and absorbs first contact against Charles Woods, and then picks up the first down.
Yeah, Woods had a big interception against NAU in the red zone early in that game last week.
He had a 61-yarder earlier this year too, I think, when he returned.
Jet sweep. Kapouris to the outside. Illinois State does a pretty good job of stringing it out. Luther Kirk in there to finish off Kapouris after a minimal game.
Jimmy Kapouris on the carry.
Ty Brooks gets a cut block in the slot too that helps allow Kapouris the opportunity to try to turn it up. Neither team has shown, in the run game anyway, a lot of want to get outside. So far it's been a lot of power on power inside.
Kobe Johnson checking in at tailback. Play action for Lance. On the comeback to Cole Jacob, who makes the reception, and Jacob hog-tied at the 46-yard line, but he's got enough for a first down.
Lance's pass complete to number 89, Cole Jacob. Gain of 14 yards on the play.
Looked to me that Lance's first look was up the seam trying to get Babbage. Josh was covered, so he makes a check to the outside.
Kirk on the tackle for Illinois State.
I don't think there was a face mask or anything involved with that tackle. His arm just slid up high, got up underneath the chin.
Lance swinging it out. Kapouris working off a block on the edge inside Illinois State territory. Boy, Phoenix Sproles did a nice job springing that thing. Not the biggest guy, but getting a body on body and gaining about 5 yards.
Remember that grind thing I talked about? Well, 3 passes have happened since then, 2 of them for first down, and a good yardage picked up there on first down. The Bison have been productive on first downs, with the exception, I think, that first incomplete pass, and then there's 4 or 5 runs and now 2 passes on first downs.
Back to the run game. Well, how about Cofield running through tackles, finally dragged down by the safety Christian Uphoff, but he's got a first down to the ISU 35-yard line.
Gain of 12 yards.
But there is Cofield's answer to the way that Robinson runs, and that's after first contact. Great chip there by Nash Jensen to take number 50 DeForest out of the play. On the long touchdown run too, it was Jensen that got to DeForest. So you take care of that middle linebacker and some good things will open up for you.
Christian Watson getting some work done on the sidelines. He hobbled off a little bit after that play.
Here's a check.
Cofield tiptoeing again. This time tripped up after a gain of just 2.
Number 18, Adam Cofield on the carry.
Luther Kirk up strong in the run game again from his safety position.
Probably a situation where Trey Lance, there's a run called, and Lance will come up to the line, then make the call to decide what side he wants that play to go, given how the Redbirds are lined up, whether he wants to try it left or try it to the right.
8th play of the drive for North Dakota State. Big John Ridgway headed to the sideline.
Yeah, he's come off on obvious passing situations.
Down the seam, perfectly delivered. Kapouris makes the reception inside the 5-yard line. Lance firing a bullet.
Number 19, Jimmy Kapouris.
A bullet after the deception. Nodak Insurance Company replay. Look at Lance. He takes a look at number 28, Brooks. He brings the defense up. He sees Uphoff going up against Kapouris in the middle, beats him on an inside route, and shows off that strong arm that he has. We've talked about Lance. When he gets that trigger, his arm back, boom, it explodes out of his hand from that point.
Stretch play to Cofield. He's tiptoeing around one man. Another corner! Adam Cofield, touchdown!
Number 18, Adam Cofield, touchdown carry by.
Well, here's why you stay on your blocks as long as possible, because this looks to me that it's not going to happen much. And then there's a couple of really good ones on the edge. You see Uphoff come down. Dylan Radens had a beautiful block back about the hash mark on the backside as well.
Tenth career touchdown for Adam Cofield, junior out of Missouri. Gross's extra point is up, and it is perfect again. And North Dakota State extends the lead 23-3. No third downs on that drive. 4 first downs as you take a look at the series history between these two. NDSU's won the last 7 meetings, and Adam Cofield has another touchdown for the Bison.
North Dakota State 23.
Welcome to Normal, Illinois. In the broadcast booth, Brian Shaw and Lee Timmerman with you. North Dakota State leading 23-3, and the Bison very efficient offensively so far. Over 100 yards passing, nearly 100 yards rushing so far here in the first half.
And the ability to finish off in the end zone is brilliant. The Bison still batting 1,000. They're 15 out of 15 in the red zone now.
Bobcats scoring a recap. Wonderful drive. No third downs on that drive. 9 plays, 80 yards, and 456. A nice variety of plays and personnel groupings from NDSU. Adam Cofield taking it in from 4 yards out. Amazingly, North Dakota State, 23 points on just 20 plays so far here in this first half. Booted away, Peterson Farm Seed kickoff. Kick off your planning season with Peterson Farm Seed. Devin Taylor calls for the fair catch, and we step aside. 23-3, 7:17 to go here until halftime. Show your Bison pride today with an NDSU Gate City Bank ATM and check card. Visit gatecity.bank/mycard. Gate City Bank for a better way of life. Member FDIC. Matt Entz has to be happy with the way his team has performed so far here in the first half. A 20-point lead on the road against the number 6 team in the nation. Davis throwing again across the middle, and James Hendricks got his hands on that one. Intended target was Austin Nagel. Let's go down to Ryan Gellner on the sidelines for a First International Bank and Trust sideline report. Ryan.
Hi guys, you saw Christian Watson, the Bison wide receiver, hobble off the field a couple of plays ago for the Bison. It's actually the second time he's come off the field with a right knee injury. Now both times he's been working himself out on the sideline, and both times he refused medical attention. I asked the team doctors and they told me that Watson will be back in. His return is probable.
All right, thanks so much, Ryan. And boy, James Kaiser coming in and swallowing up James Robinson. You see Lane Tucker getting into the game. I've not seen a lot of reps for Lane Tucker out of Wyoming.
He's a sophomore, but when you have less people on the sidelines, and everyone who's on the road needs to get ready to play. But I think that just goes to show how important the Bison want to keep that defensive line rotation rolling.
Another 3rd and long for Illinois State. Davis trying to hang in the pocket, firing, and that went through the hands of Marquise Bridges. Very tight window there, trying to squeeze that ball into the tight end, Robert Gillum, and a 3-and-out for the Redbirds.
But I like the pre-snap read that they gave Davis. They gave Davis the full appearance that they're coming. Nodak Insurance Company replay. At the last moment, everybody bails out into a max coverage, and this is the play before with Tucker getting in there on the tackle against Robinson. But the Bison disguising their defense very well, and Davis is thinking he's got a one-on-one with a big man down the middle, and no, all of a sudden it's double covered with another safety helping, so he threw almost into triple coverage.
JT Bolkin out for another punt. Another liner end over end, and Height. Oh, he's gonna have to let it go, and it's gonna take a Redbird hot inside the 5 into the end zone. That was very close to getting pinned deep as Charles Woods gave chase.
Travels 75 yards for a touchback. The Bison will take over 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line.
Let's pause for a quick message from Shields. North Dakota State right back on offense after another 3-and-out by Illinois State. Delayed handoff, not much room up the middle this time. Gain of a yard up to the 22 before the pile closes in on Ty Brooks.
How many pounds are in that pile, do you think?
Oh, there's a lot.
their own 22-yard line.
Well, between Ridgeway and Zach Johnson alone, you have about 650 pounds.
Well, Schoening's over 300. Zach Johnson's over 300. Volson's over 300. And Dylan Radens comes in at a slim 298.
Delta formation here on 2nd and 9. They're going to give it up. How about Hunter Lupke getting his first carry of the season? Backup fullback, redshirt freshman, carried the ball a ton in high school. Over 7,000 yards as a running back. Primarily a fullback here and getting an opportunity to carry the football.
And picking up that first down. So the redshirt freshman, Spencer, Wisconsin, Hunter Lupke. Nice to see the fullbacks get carries. He and Malmstrom, it's such a thankless position that those two guys have, that fullback position. And here he gets to carry the Bison to a first down.
Sabian Clark, his first run of the day. NDSU continues to shuffle in the tailbacks. Gain of 2 to the 34-yard line.
Sabian Clark on the carry.
And every first down that North Dakota State can get just continues to grind away at the clock. And just continues to wear down this defensive front from Illinois State.
Dylan Drake on the tackle.
Fourth tailback to have a carry today. It's Clark, along with Johnson, of course, and Brooks and Cofield.
Babbage now motioning into the backfield. Another run up the middle.
Number 18.
Not much room for Cofield. About back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. John Ridgeway again plugging things up.
A lot of times when you see the Bison play teams that aren't used to them, or they're new a little bit. Davis was kind of that way on the shift trade motion with a tight end moving here, then moving there, and then the defense slides all over. You don't see that here today. The Redbirds are used to it. They might take a half a step one way, but it's no major adjustments.
And I think a timeout coming here for North Dakota State.
Timeout. North Dakota State. Their first of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Time now for the Gate City Bank Fan Cam. Send us your Homer Watch party pics to fancamyourcam.com. That is fancamyourcam.com, and we'll show them in the fourth quarter of today's contest from Normal, Illinois.
Well, Brian, the Bison obviously haven't, gotten the ball or needed to put the ball in the air a whole lot today, and we have not heard the name of Romeo McKnight very often today. I don't think we've mentioned him at all in game action. He's a dynamic defensive end, number 8, the guy who's been sacking everybody all over the place, but he has not, again, been in the picture at all. The Bison have taken care of him.
Brian Shaw, Lee Timmerman, welcome to Normal, Illinois. 3:48 to go and a big third down coming up here for NDSU.
Third down.
Jimmy Kapuris to the high side of the screen. Lance running away from Luther Kirk, firing on the run and just throwing it away.
Lance's pass falls incomplete.
And that'll bring up fourth down. I think the Bison trying to set up a screen that time, and Illinois State snuffed it out.
But the corner blitz threw the timing of the play away. Lance just was unable to have the time to help keep his composure enough to allow the number 28, their Brooks, to get open.
Just the second incompletion of the day for Trey Lance. Now 6 of 8 for 104 yards.
But you know the one thing he didn't force it. He didn't try to shove it into a window that didn't exist. It was third and long. You throw it away, you punt it away.
Garrett Wagner boots this one. Hangs it up nice and high, and a fair catch called for inside the 20-yard line and made by Charles Woods. 3:34 to go. Illinois State backed up inside its own territory. We're back after this. 23-3, North Dakota State leading here on the road in the Missouri Valley Conference opener. Illinois State first and 10 from the 18-yard line. Illinois State 82 total yards as a team, and James Robinson has 82 total yards. 25 asked to do it all. Not on the field here on first and 10. Davis, play action. Beagler giving chase. Davis throws on the run, and making the catch. Was he inbounds? Yes. Tiptoeing the sidelines, Austin Nagel at the 32.
Redbirds will go in a hurry up now.
And Davis, just a quick run up the middle.
Number 1, Brady Davis on the carry.
Gained about 5 yards on that quick little shuffle ahead.
Comes up 2nd and 5 for Illinois State. They're on 37-yard line.
Redbird still with 3 timeouts, 3 minutes on the clock, so plenty of time to get down in the field. Proctor remaining in the game at tailback. Davis out of the shotgun, fires again. And that is Rukevich making the reception. Tutsy wrapping him up in midfield, but that will move the chains again to the 50.
Number 15, Casper Rukevich.
Well, the freshman is able to isolate himself against Jackson Hankey. And that is not Jackson's forte necessarily, his pass coverage. Kaiser and Hankey right now playing linebacker with Jabril Cox in the nickel position.
Davis continuing to operate out of the shotgun. He'll throw again. Fire again and caught again. James Hendricks on the coverage as Rukevich makes another catch, gain of 6.
Similar play, except that Hendricks was able to come down from his safety spot and get in on the tackle, where before it was more of an isolation one-on-one with Hankey.
Illinois State now showing some urgency as we've hit the 2-minute mark until halftime. Bison going to bring some extra rushers this time, and Davis slipping out of a tackle. Setting up and firing deep. A man is wide open, and getting back to make a play on the football was Marquise Bridges. Braxton Haley was all by himself, but that ball hung up in the air a long time.
The key thing there at the end of that play, though, is that Bridges gets to the spot. Nodak Insurance Company replay. Watch him turn his shoulders and get back to the ball and not make contact. So the Bison almost get Davis. He steps out, makes a strong throw, but look at that. Turn, face, make a play on the ball. Most defensive corners can't do that.
Boy, that was a great play by Marquise Bridges to get body control. So 3rd and 4 for Illinois State.
They were coming. The Bison came with pressure right up the middle.
Robinson back in the game at tailback. Davis fires, and that one is batted away. Well done by Hendricks, coming in to break on the football and break that thing up. Haley, the intended target for the Redbirds.
I tell you, James has to come a long ways to make this play, because he's guarding Haley in the slot. He runs an out route. James is playing that back, that free safety position, and once he read it, he came downhill hard. Nodak Insurance Company replay. Running across the play, knocking it away to force 4th down.
Boy, number 6 has turned himself into an all-conference safety. Came here as a quarterback out of Bemidji. His father was an All-American at MSU Moorhead back in the day. Trying to hang this thing up deep is Bolkin. And he was able to keep it out of the end zone. He did. Boy, that was a great job by Jarrell Jackson, I believe, was the man that was down there. And NDSU backed up to its own 1.
Credit Bolkin with 42 yards on the punt. That ball is down at the 2-yard line.
If Illinois State can get a stop, just a couple of yards, maybe use their timeouts here to try to get the football back.
Number 9.
Well, you wonder a little bit why Coach Spack on 4th down and that part of the field doesn't go for it. Well, he doesn't want to give NDSU a short field. Now the Bison have a long field. NDSU's just trying to get to the locker room with a 20-point lead.
Cofield, the tailback, here on 1st and 10. Cofield just puts the shoulder down and gains a yard before John Ridgway makes the tackle.
Spack using a timeout.
18. Adam Cofield on the carry.
Timeout, Illinois State. Need a 30-second timeout. Please reset the clock. 1:24. 1:24.
As we showed you briefly earlier, 12th meeting between these two programs. including the national championship game back in 2014. NDSU's won 7 straight in this series. You know, they've done really well in normal. Brock Spack has 12 losses in normal, and I think 3 of them have come to NDSU, or 2 of them.
I think maybe all 3.
Has it been all 3?
Maybe. But you talk about the national championship game and what a great game it was between these two teams. It's, even though Illinois State didn't win that game, it's still talked about a lot. I know 2 full stories I saw in the newspaper here was about that game and what players were doing after that game. So even though they didn't win, it still made a major impact on this program.
Carson Wentz, the dramatic touchdown run at the end.
Trey
Roberson with the great run on the other end.
Trey is now a defensive back in the CFL. He's not even playing quarterback anymore.
2nd and 9 for NDSU. Round game again. Cofield, boy, it looked like someone had to buy the face mask there for a moment. No flag.
He got pulled sideways a little bit, so obviously it wasn't up on the face mask, because otherwise we would have seen a flag.
Loss of 1 yard.
Cofield lost yard. Cofield, I think, is asking the official.
30 seconds.
I was held up by the face mask.
Around 2-yard line. For the tackle, Redbird's number 50.
Well, Adam, let's see if you're right.
Play resumes. It'll be 3rd and 10.
DeForest up on the helmet.
Right?
Well, that sure looked. He turned his head so far.
I don't know how it couldn't have been the face mask.
I mean, it comes off. Maybe they thought it came off his helmet so fast. I don't know, but boy, my first reaction was that's going to be a first down.
Wow. Not had a lot of penalties called here in the first half. 4 on NDSU, and Illinois State has yet to be called for a flag. To look at DeForest.
He's a good player.
He is a good player. A transfer from Wisconsin back in 2015. 11 starts last year. He does have an interception and a sack here this season. And here comes another flag. Someone moved early for NDSU.
Good news, bad news. Bad news, penalty. Good news, it's only for 1 yard against you.
Number 82. Penalty is half the distance to the goal. 3rd down.
Yes, you have to try to get some breathing room here, though, for the punter Wegner.
On the 1 yard line. Once again, it's 3rd down.
It doesn't have the wind right now in its favor, so a chance for Illinois State. They get a stop here to get pretty good field position here.
Not sure you even risk a handoff here, do you?
I don't know if out of the shotgun. Trey's just going to run it himself, and John Ridgway is there to drive him backwards. Had some help from Dylan Draka.
Number 5.
Gain of a yard. And even the official went tumbling on that play.
Well, Christian Uphoff, I think he thought he was pushing a Bison player, and he was actually pushing the official.
Number 99, John Ridgway, stopping that play.
30 seconds. Charge timeout. Illinois State.
So Illinois State burns its final timeout, and Wegner will have to try to do what he can to at least pin back Illinois State as long as possible. Let's take a look here. Watch this.
You see Uphoff got it pulled off to the side. I think it was Sproles that kind of threw him. He retaliates a little bit, but the official had already stepped in. Well, I don't know. That's dangerously close to a personal foul that didn't get called. And now the Bison will take a timeout.
30 seconds. Charge timeout. North Dakota State.
Seeing if the Redbirds are thinking about bringing some pressure here. Wegner will have to get this thing out in a hurry. Charles Woods will stand at about his own 40, 45 maybe. Brock Spack. Already 11 seasons. Hard to believe he's been here that long. One of the longest tenured coaches in the Missouri Valley. Certainly Mark Farley on the top of that list.
Yeah, Spack, the second winningest coach in Illinois State history, too. He's got 77 wins. Edwin Struck has 86.
On to punt for the Bison, number 38, Garrett Wegner.
So Wegner handles the snap, end over end, and Woods is going to let it bounce at the 40, and it takes a hop, and oh, he thought about going up to take it. Instead, it's the long snapper, Ross Kennelly, downing it at about the 44. Illinois State, still plenty of time, 1:08 now, no timeout, so at least get field goal range.
That's about where they were before the last punt. And so instead of going for it on 4th down, you get it back in about the same position. You obviously have more downs to work with, a lot less time, and no timeouts.
4 wide, including the tight end Gillum. Robinson remaining in at tailback.
Rushing 4.
Brady, Davis, high across the middle and over Rutkevich.
Those plays in the slot, those were the ones that were open against NAU, and when Andrew Edgar just went absolutely bonkers. He had 12 catches for 228 yards before breaking, I think it was a collarbone in his left shoulder. But that's the area of the field. Remember Snell, who was so good for here for a long time? The passing game from Illinois State really does a lot of things in the middle of the field.
There's a look at Brady Davis's numbers, 6 of 14 for 58 yards here in the first half. Most of that coming on the last drive for the Redbirds. He'll throw again. Tuska bearing down on him. Ball is loose. And falling on it was Cole Anderson. And time continues to tick here. Now the ball back to the NDSU, Illinois State 47-yard line.
Here you're going to see a Brady sandwich with, I think it was Bigler and Tuska meeting right at the quarterback.
10 yards on the play. Brings up 3rd and 20 for Illinois State.
3rd and 20.
47-yard line.
Still 15 on the play clock, but the clock, game clock is
under
moving.
30. Yeah. Bison showing pressure now. They seem to back out.
They'll drop and rush 3. Got him again.
Here comes McCormick.
Yes.
Down he goes again. Back at the 34-yard line.
Davis sacked on the play by the Bison number 93, Logan McCormick.
Now the Bison, I think, want the timeout.
Brings up 4 a lot for Illinois State from their own 35-yard line.
3-man rush. Logan McCormick going up against Drew Himmelman. Himmelman against NAU. It was pretty solid, but when he has to move laterally, he had issues. That's part of being 6'10". And there's just a speed rush to the outside. McCormick beats him. Davis has to flush off to his right, and Logan tracks him down.
Illinois State came in as the one that was the disruptive defense. 20 sacks, 34 tackles for loss. But here in the first half, North Dakota State 4 sacks and 5 tackles for loss. Meanwhile, NDSU just 3 negative plays so far.
And we mentioned that stat off the top. I think only 11 minus yards on plays. I shouldn't say yards. 11 plays that didn't gain a yard all year long so far for NDSU.
So Bolkin in. We'll see if NDSU wants to come after it or try to set up a return here for Heights. Here comes Brooks streaking off the edge. And Height will just call for the fair catch and make it at the 20-yard line with 8 seconds to go. And you'd have to think the Bison at this point will just take a knee. Yeah. And be happy with the 20-point lead going into the locker room.
Yeah, Coach Hentz calls the timeout to force the punt on 4th with the idea of trying to block it. And I don't think Trevor had any indication that he was going to return that one. It was a fair catch all the way if the ball gets off. Tell you that Bison defense in the first half, though, only allowing 3 points and 0 touchdowns once again.
And Lance will get behind center, and it certainly appears that he will just take a knee here and head into the locker room. The Bison very efficient offensively in that first half. Yeah. 218 total yards.
NDSU on the season now in terms of touchdowns, 25 to 5.
That's pretty good. Ryan Geller will catch a word here with head coach Matt Entz. Get his thoughts on the first half. And Ryan in a snazzy suit is standing by with Matt Entz.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Boy, explosive is the word I would use, both offensively and then, man, at the end there, you were getting after him. Explosive, though, in the first half.
You know, we've done a good job. Still frustrated on the big, long kickoff return. We only had to settle for 3. You know, I did a poor job of not seeing the play clock and getting a timeout. I could have saved us 5 yards, but everyone's learning. We're playing well. But you know what? We were in this situation a year ago, and all of a sudden it was, you know, Robinson show in the second half. So we got to get in there and challenge our kids to continue to be better in the second half.
He's gotten loose, but he has not found the end zone. Happy with that, or do you try to change something?
Of course, I don't like to miss tackles. I think everything he's gotten, he's had to earn. We had one missed tackle by Michael Tutsi on a little edge pressure that he's got to come down and take it off the hip of the tight end. But otherwise, we're doing a nice job. If they want to continue to run the football and eat the clock, that's fine with me too. But we just got to get them off on third down.
See you after the game. Good luck.
Hey, you bet. Thanks.
Not too bad, guys. Somewhat happy, somewhat displeased, but that's what we've come to expect from the head coach.
Well,
back up to you.
James Robinson, 12 carries, 60 yards in the first quarter, just 1 carry for 0 yards in the second quarter. Interesting. 23-3 is your halftime score. Beth Houle, Kyle Emanuel, and Alex Egan standing by with the Proceed halftime report on the other side of this timeout. We'll be back in normal in about 20 minutes. Welcome back to Hancock Stadium in Normal, Illinois. North Dakota State 23-3 lead at the half, getting set for the start of second half play. Brian Shaw, Lee Timmerman, and Ryan Gellner are with you. And you have to say for North Dakota State,
impressive.
About the best word you can use to describe it on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, certainly was an impressive effort defensively, not allowing any touchdowns, only 3 points, and the offense getting into the end zone 3 times, and a touchdown again from the tight end group. We were talking about that at halftime. What's with this tight ends? They've caught 13 balls all year, and now 8 of them are touchdowns, but that's just the way the Bison work it, and Gindorf got in.
Yeah, Noah Gindorf continues to be the touchdown machine, and even the amount of guys that North Dakota State was getting the ball in their hands of. They had 7 different rushers, 5 different receivers in that first half. A lot of different players got an opportunity to make plays.
And one of the big plays, one of those first plays, that fumble on the opening drive, actually, here's where NDSU gets to reap the benefits of that. So they get the turnover, they get the points. Now in the second half, they get the ball.
Yeah, that's the most important part for North Dakota State, establishing a drive early in the second half. Remember, North Dakota State had a 28-0 lead against Illinois State in the second half last year, and then the Redbirds got some momentum behind James Robinson, who had 128 yards rushing against NDSU last year, and got back into the game a little bit. So we'll see how North Dakota State responds after the touchback. Peterson Farm Seed kickoff. Kick off your planning season with Peterson Farm Seed.
But that last year's game was, I know there was some success from Illinois State, but it was a little bit too late, because the Bison had 279 yards, if you remember, in the first half last year. They just ground them, and here NDSU with a 20-point advantage. So how Illinois State is going to overcome a 3-touchdown deficit, I don't see it happening. But the fun part about sports is we don't know, so we get to all watch together.
Adam Cofield will start as the tailback. North Dakota State, 3 touchdowns and a field goal in their first 4 drives, and then the last 2 3-and-outs. Lance, fire on the run to Kapuras, who goes down to one knee to make the catch, and a gain of 5 yards.
I think his first look, he was trying to get a little hitch set up there with Ben Elfson, but Ben couldn't quite get to the spot in the time that Lance wanted him to get there, so he had to abandon the little stick route and wait for Kapuras to run the out.
And North Dakota State has done a good job of not getting behind the sticks today, especially on first down. And that'll be a first down on the run for Adam Cofield. Cofield in that first half, 10 carries, team high for 38 yards.
Not that he isn't always, because I think he is very good at finishing runs, but today Cofield seems to be just a little bit extra physical at the end of his runs.
Brooks squeaking through a hole, good patient run there, and a gain of 4 yards, maybe 5 to the 41.
28, Ty Brooks on the carry.
Well, zone blocking on that particular instance, so the idea is to give the running back an opportunity, a chance to look for something to open up. Unlike a power where you pull the guard, you definitely know where you want to go and when you need to hit the hole. That time Brooks was able to stay patient, and another plus on first down.
Here, and a stretch play to Brooks. Oh, he's got a crease. Ty Brooks busting it outside, inside Illinois State territory. Finally upended by Luther Kirk at the 32.
Boy, Zach Johnson, 68, does a great job at eliminate pursuit. He gets out in front of big man Ridgway, also takes out a linebacker, wipes out some of that pursuit that might have kept that to be an 8 or a 9 yard run. And then Trey's able to bust it. Or excuse me, Ty, not Trey.
Kobe Johnson. Oh, he was hit right away in the backfield, and he will get back to the line of scrimmage, and that is it. 27 yards on that carry for Ty Brooks. He now has just 5 carries, but 91 yards, averaging 18 yards per carry today. Flag coming in late on that play.
We'll have to see what the late flag was. There was a lot of pushing at the end of that.
Number 24, Kobe Johnson on the carry. No gain on the play.
That's one of the few plays today I'd say that Ridgway won.
After the
He
play,
won that battle.
unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense, number 68. 15-yard penalty. Down will count. It will be second down.
So that will go on Zach Johnson and back up the Bison all the way to about the 47. So it'll be 2nd and 25 coming up now.
Second and 25. That's the first unsportsmanlike conduct foul. Number 68.
Lance out of the shotgun. Will keep it on the run, and not much room to run. Got a yard before Tarika was able to swallow him up. 42 there in red.
Trey Lance on the carry. Gain of 1 yard on the play. Brings up 3rd and 20.
Still trying to catch the number. I think, was it Luther? Yeah, it was Luther Kirk was the first guy that really read the run and was not stopped at all in his pursuit of the quarterback during the fake.
Lance has not run the ball much today. Just a couple of carries. Bison out of the Delta formation here on 3rd and 24. And will be content to hand it off. Savion Clark. Pretty good run for Clark. Tackled by the ankles by Charles Woods as he gets to the 39-yard line.
Clark on the carry.
Likely a punting situation here coming up for the Bison.
Gain of 8 yards on the play. Brings up 4th and 6 for the Bison.
Yeah, on the 3rd and long, and then the penalty that made it 2nd and really long. You just get into a situation, a part of a game, and you have the lead. Sometimes a punt is a good play. We saw that, I think, earlier in the half, too, when, in the first half when Trey Lance didn't force anything, threw it out of bounds. Sometimes your best play is a punt.
So 4 minutes off the clock. Looks back deep for Wegner. Yeah, he'll try to pin the Redbirds deep, and this one's sailing towards the sideline and caught on the run by Jabrim Cox. Not much this guy can't do. Redbirds set up deep at the 11-yard line for its opening drive of the second half when we come back. It is still 23-3 on the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. Buying, building, or refinancing. Start with a Gate City Bank Blue Standard pre-approval and experience a better home loan. Get started today at gatecity.bank for a better way of life. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. 1st and 10 for the Redbirds from the 11. James Robinson through the first level. Around this James Hendricks and Robinson. All the way up to a 40-yard line, and a flag comes out. And that'll move the ball all the way inside NDSU territory to the 45.
The attaboy on this play, the center, Drew Bones. Look at him take care of Jackson Hankey. Hankey could not get free enough to get in and try to make a tackle on Robinson. And then he just gets hit a little bit late.
After the play, personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
But when you have Robinson, you can have big plays on the ground. You think most of the time it's got to be passing plays that are big plays. Davis's last 5 passes, 2 sacks, 3 incomplete.
29 yards on the run from Robinson, 15 on the penalty. Now the 7th penalty for North Dakota State. for 66 yards. Illinois State does not have any penalties yet so far today. Robinson again. Bison able to swallow him up after a gain of 3 to the 42.
Number 25, James
Aaron Mercadell, the bottom of that pile.
Gain of 3 yards on the play. Brings up second.
There's Brady Davis. Some ups, some downs, mostly downs in that first half. His number sponsored by the North Dakota Beef Commission, funded by beef farmers and ranchers. Just 6 completions and 14 attempts, and he was sacked 4 times.
Redbird's kind of hoping that last week's big performance through the air would be his breakout. Kind of get some confidence back.
Robinson again. Through a crease, getting a pretty good push. Finally blown dead, 2 yards short of the first down at the 37.
James Robinson on the carry. Gain of 5 yards.
Yeah, Reeds, Bones, and Solomon, the 2 guards and the center, that's about as good as they have been today on that particular player, right up the heart. That's a pretty good push from the interior of the offensive line.
Robinson, 97 rushing yards now so far today. 60 of them in the first half. Gonna get the carry again here, and he's gonna be brought down short of the first down, and I think he lost a yard back to the 38. Good penetration.
Tutsy. Safety blitz right up the middle to try to take that away, and Tutsy made first contact to force the 4th down. Really good job there by number 25, the sophomore out of Indianapolis, the leading tackler on this Bison team coming into today.
Illinois State leaves the offense on the field here on 4th and 3. Oh, and I think Robinson moved forward. And that'll cost the Redbirds 5 and may rethink the decision here for Brock Spack.
Ball start.
As soon as
25. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
His first penalty of the day on the Redbirds.
As soon as he moved his feet, his head went down, he knew he made the big mistake.
Let's pause for a quick message from the Bank of North Dakota.
My plan was to get a degree in engineering. And with the help of a student loan from Bank of North Dakota,
so that will bring in J.T. Bolkin. On what would have been a very interesting 4th down call. Bolkin will try to pin the Bison deep. Height will let it sail over his head and into the end zone. So NDSU able to get a stop and get off the field. And the offense set up at the 20-yard line.
20-yard line.
Well, penalties derail both drives. Both of those drives seemed like they were moving pretty well, and offenses were in rhythm, and Robinson had a big long run. They have a tendency to do that, don't they? Penalties.
Room. Been tough sledding in the middle against the Redbirds, back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it.
The Bison had success up the middle in that first half, so I don't know if the adjustment, I can't tell what it is right now, Brian, if they're just throwing an extra body in there or if they're pinching a little bit harder and maybe through the A and the B gaps. But whatever the Redbirds are doing is working, because NDSU had success in getting a body on DeForest and on the linebackers in that first half.
Illinois State claiming somebody jumped early. Lance will throw, and Watson makes the catch, slips away from Taylor, and bumped out of bounds by Kirk, 1 yard short of the first down at the 29.
Ryan talked about in one of the sideline reports in the first half how Watson's been dealing kind of a little bit of a knee. Certainly nothing gimpy at all about that play. Solid run, makes a good plan on it, and makes it 3rd and short.
3rd down.
Watson 2 catches, 15 yards. Trey Lance, only his 10th pass attempt so far here today. And Lance is going to run. Take off with it. put his head down, lower the shoulder, and get the first down to the 33. And of course, we have seen what he can do when he lowers the shoulder against UC Davis in the game-clinching touchdown run.
Number 31.
I remember last year we talked a lot about quarterbacks with Easton Stick and his ability to run and limiting his exposures. Same thing with Trey Lance. When do you really need him? Red zones, goal lines, third downs.
There's Cofield again, smashed after a gain of 2. Christian Uphoff from his safety spot coming up there. Help get in on that stop.
Bison trying to work some angles. The Redbirds not allowing that to happen.
It hasn't been anything flashy, but all of a sudden you look up at the clock and you're ticking down towards 6 minutes to go in the third quarter already.
And this is the quarter where Illinois State has the win. Bison are taking that away.
Kobe Johnson to the outside. Lupke throwing a block, and now Johnson cutting it back up inside, and the freshman up to the 47, and enough for a first down.
Number 24, Kobe Johnson on the carry. 12 yards.
Boy, the young man being patient because he let Lupke try to get out to Vandenberg twice. Nodak Insurance Company replay. There's Lupke right there, and then the spin back in, and he still continues to wipe out and pick up that first down.
Boy, excellent vision there for the true freshman. 5th carry on the day for Kobe Johnson. Gets the carry again, slipping out of 1 tackle, and Johnson pushing the pile ahead. Good tough running inside Illinois State territory. Looked like it was going to be a run for no gain. He ended up getting 4 yards out of that carry.
Really good leg strength and power, showing it on this play. Nodak Insurance Company sponsors our replays. The big man right there, he's stepping through. Jacob Powell weighs 290. Powell couldn't bring him down. And you win that first down battle. Make it 2nd and 5 after a pickup of 5. That is what an offense that runs the ball wants.
Brooks this time tiptoeing, putting his head down, and he's dumped at about the 46, 3 yards short of a first down.
Gain of 2 yards brings up 3rd and 3 for the Bison on the Redbird 36-yard line.
North Dakota State today, 2 of 6 on 3rd down. And the Bison coming into this game, 6th in the nation in 3rd down percentage at 53%.
The Bison use this personnel quite a bit on 3rd down. It's the 3 tight ends, so the fullbacks come out, single setback, so it's 13 personnel. And they all flip to the other side, to the left side.
Play action for Lance. Might run for it. And stretching across, it's going to be very close to the 43, and that's right where the sticks are. And that will be enough for a first down. Heady play by the redshirt freshman. Continues to impress with his poise.
Nodak Insurance Company replay. This is the finish. The big man, oh, he's got DeForest, the middle linebacker and top tackler. Drags him for that extra yard and a half he needs for the first.
Boy, 2 Redbirds there, 2 yards short of the first down. And Lance still able to lunge across.
Look at that clock now.
Oh, it is just getting milked. Boy, there is some hitting going on in the trenches.
Number 18, Adam
Cofield, a yard to the 42.
2nd and 9 for Bison.
Well, keep in mind, too, that both defenses are obviously used to going against big, beefy, tough, hard-nosed offensive lines in practice. They're used to it.
Show your Bison pride today with an NDSU Gate City Bank ATM and check card. Visit gatecity.bank/mycard. Gate City Bank, for a better way of life. Member FDIC. This is already the 10th play of this drive for North Dakota State.
2nd and long, though. This is one of the tougher calls, I think, that Tyler Rolls had in this sequence.
Lance, Kirk on the blitz, missed. Lance firing on the run and batted away by Christian Uphoff. Looking for Ben Ellefson at the 26-yard line. Will bring up 3rd and long.
Pressure applied by number 6, Devon Clark.
Well, you said Kirk missing. He's the free safety on the free safety blitz, playing into the boundary in this instance. And I know that was an incomplete pass, but it just goes to me, you keep watching this kid just mature and not get rattled. He gave his tight end an opportunity to try and make a catch, even though the defense made a nice job of improve on it. But I just like the poise that Lance continues to show.
Lance on third down, setting up the screen to Watson. He's got blockers in front. Watson to the 30. Christian Watson is running free, and he's going to take it 42 yards for a touchdown.
I don't think Illinois State was fooled per se, but boy, was this thing blocked to absolute perfection. Devin Taylor taking off the play right away. Seam opens up for Watson. He cuts it back to the middle of the field where he knows there's some extra blockers coming. Nodak Insurance Company replay. Boy, great block on Kirk right there. Who was that? I think that was Zach Johnson out there, and then Watson running it in.
Boy, put a nice move on Christian Uphoff too, cutting it back across the field.
I tell you, that was just beautiful execution.
First touchdown for Christian Watson. Young man coming from a football family. His brother Trey was an outstanding linebacker at Illinois and Maryland. Had a dad that played collegiately, and they're going to take another look at this thing. And they're just checking to make sure he did not lose the football before crossing the plane, is what we're being told. And you certainly hope that's not the case.
Here's our version of it as Watson's waiting. Oh, look at that, Zach John. That is just great stuff. Takes care of Kirk. Okay. No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
But we are not the official replay today, just to let everyone at home who's watching. NBC Chicago is also televising it on the far side.
The review was to determine cross the goal line before dropping the ball. After further review, the ruling on the field stands. It's a touchdown.
I don't think there's anything definitive enough, certainly, to change any call on the field.
But believe me, Mr. Watson will be talked about this week about that.
Oh, and a huge play. 11 plays, 80 yards, and 5:51. And the lead has swelled to 26 with the extra point coming. Throws it for the extra point. And it's perfect again.
He's perfect.
North Dakota State, 30-3, 2:43 to go. Here in the third quarter as Christian Watson has his first touchdown. Time now for the Gate City Bank Fan Cam. Send us your home or watch party pics to fancamyourcam.com, and we'll show them in the fourth quarter. One last chance to do that here. That is fancamyourcam.com. Bison fans here have to certainly be impressed with this team's performance. It has been very strong execution on both sides of the ball today. Wegner putting a boot to it. Another Peterson Farm Seed kickoff your planning season with Peterson Farm Seed. Second time that Wegner has kicked one out of bounds, and Illinois State will start on the 35-yard line. We step aside with 2:43 to go. Bison offense clicking so far today. Bobcat scoring recap, 11 plays, 80 yards in just under 6 minutes. Christian Watson catching the screen on a big third down for North Dakota State. Trey Lance, another touchdown pass.
Ends up being a big play for a score. 3 of the last 4 touchdowns the Bison have scored 35 yards. That was the pass, the 53-yard run from Brooks. Now that 42-yard catch and run from Christian.
Boy, explosive plays today for North Dakota State offensively. Time of possession also heavily in favor of North Dakota State in the second half. And oh my goodness, that ball was almost picked off by 2 Bison defensive backs. Marquise Bridges and James Hendricks both going for it. Rukevich wasn't even looking for the ball when it was released by Davis.
Well, Bridges knows that he needs to get his hand on it as much as he can, but little does he know that if he lets it go, it's going to be another interception there, which would have been, I think, the 11th in James Hendricks' career.
Bison bringing pressure on 2nd and long. Davis hanging in. Over Jabril Cox and complete. And Cooper Rukevich is breaking free, and Rukevich is going to take it all the way in to the 1-yard line.
Well, the Bison run a combo blitz up the middle, and you have to give Davis credit for hanging in there because he delivers a good ball. Look at the cross blitz, and then James Robinson picks up one of the crossers. He's able to step up and throw a strike.
And then the run after the catch by Rukevich, also impressive. Out of John Hersey High School in Mount Prospect, Illinois.
And they'll look again to see if he got the ball in. That's a touchdown, isn't it?
That's a touchdown.
From that angle, from our camera, that looks touchdown.
Would be his first career touchdown.
Yeah,
his head coach, to finish my thought on that, his head coach in high school, Tom Nelson, you might remember that name, was a standout defensive back here at Illinois State.
But the Redbirds are so desperate to get something positive to happen. Okay, no knee.
Touchdown.
That's a touchdown. Now, that'll be a touchdown.
Should be.
But you saw Davis force the one up to the outside into double coverage.
Boy, the nice pass from Davis, but Rukevich did a nifty job of running around the NDSU secondary.
But that was a strike. That was an impressive pass. Davis stepped up right into the teeth of a blitz. This will be a touchdown.
After further review, on the field stands. The runners.
Wow.
Well,
first and goal.
So officially a 64-yard gain, and Brock's back in disbelief.
Yeah, Brock, that was a touchdown.
And again, they may not have on-camera angles. They may have worse angles to work with than what we do.
Yep. The other cameras are the official replays.
First and goal from the Bison 1-yard line.
You'd have to think number 25 is going to get the call here on first and goal from the 1. Robinson patiently waiting and stacked up. Yeah, he may have lost a yard back to the 2. Matt Beagler did a good job of getting penetration into the backfield.
Nodak Insurance Company replay. Robinson not able to get ahead of steam. He's trying to follow the pulling guard.
Beagler was the one that got him low first, and then everybody else stood him up. Tuska, Mercadell, Costner Ching.
The non-touchdown call just keeps costing Illinois State time as well. The Bison just have owned the time of possession in this quarter.
Robinson again. Boy, the Bison continue to get in the backfield. Tutsi was the first there. James Hendricks and Jackson Hackey also in there to help out. We'll bring up third and goal from the 2.
Boy, great leverage by Michael Tutsi. He gets both arms around him and does not allow Robinson the opportunity to bounce at all because he has outside leverage. Right there, Robinson's forced to go inside because Tutsi's there. Hankey's also there. Super job by those two. 25 and 52.
Now 3 receivers bunched up in the bottom of this formation with Davis in the shotgun on third and goal. Oh, somebody moved. Looked like 52 Adam Solomon, the guard.
Well, Himmelman wasn't too far behind. Both guys on the left side moved.
Ball start. Offense for 52. Penalty.
Third down.
A first and goal at the 1 has turned into a third and goal from the 8. You'd have to think 2-down territory regardless here for the Redbirds. A field goal's not going to cut it. Davis flushed out. Robinson running into the end zone. Oh, Tutsi had it in his hands and he dropped it.
Oh, he's got 4 this year. Almost number 5.
That brings up 4th and goal for the Redbirds.
Oh, what Davis was trying to do was going to be really tough, trying to throw a touch pass far from his primary, far from being your primary receiver is Robinson. Tutsi in perfect position. Here's 4th down.
He's going to be kicking himself. 4th and goal from the 8. Davis to throw. Fires. Batted away. And it's James Hendricks with another pass defended. And North Dakota State, a goal line stand.
Turns the ball over on downs.
And that man right there is frustrated. Brady Davis.
Boy, when you have James Robinson and you hand it to him a couple of times, gain no yards, you try to throw it to Robinson and almost gets picked. Then Davis trying to throw it low and outside on a bullet to Nagel. And there your safety had a really good position. That is fantastic work by that Bison defense in the goal line situation.
And a tough break for Illinois State.
Oh, yeah, because that was a touchdown.
A touchdown.
No, it was, but it wasn't, obviously.
And Ty DeForest coming up to make another stop at the 8-yard line as Cofield runs nowhere.
Should take care of the quarter.
Brings up 2nd and 10 for the Bison from their own 8-yard line.
And that will take us to the end of the 3rd quarter. North Dakota State adding a touchdown on the 42-yard reception by Christian Watson, and a goal line stand defensively. Just 3 points allowed by the Bison defense as we head to the final quarter here in Normal. Welcome back. Time now for the Gate City Bank Fan Cam. Thanks for sending us your watch party pics to fancamyourcam.com. Got some folks celebrating. Boy, they got them starting them young. Really young. Oh,
why wouldn't you?
People in local establishments watching as well. Thanks so much for tuning in. And thanks for sending in your watch party pics. 4th quarter. 2nd and 10 for North Dakota State from the 8-yard line.
I don't know how you improve much on that 3rd quarter. That was Bison dominated.
Buying, building, or refinancing. Start with a Gate City Bank Blue Standard pre-approval and experience a better home loan. Get started today at gatecity.bank for a better way of life. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. In the backfield with Lance in the shotgun. Zeke Vandenberg now inching up to the line of scrimmage. Lance continuing to run, giving the Redbirds a ride to the 35-yard line. Ty DeForest finally brought him down after a run of close to 27 yards for Trey Lance.
Before the snap, I don't know if you could hear the cadence. You could hear Trey Lance calling things out. Well, the cadence and using cadence changes this week are allowing Lance a little bit more time to make his pre-snap movements, so he's able to move maybe the call from the right side to the left side, breaks it through, carries some guys all the way up to the 35.
Back to the ground game. Not much there for Kobe Johnson. Gains 3 to the 43.
And they're on 37-yard line. Number 42, Dylan Pregame.
Here's a look at the numbers for Trey Lance today. Boy, very efficient game again. Look at the quarterback rating. Those numbers sponsored by the North Dakota Beef Commission, funded by beef farmers and ranchers.
Well, Trey was number 2 in the country and coming in and passing efficiency on the offensive side. And here he is doing it again.
Austin Avery in the game at tight end, motioning to the high side of your screen. Sabian Clark working off some blocks, and Clark Another strong run for this redshirt freshman out of Sioux City. He's got enough for a first down to the 47.
Oh, that was fun. Both guards pulled. Cordell Volson on a stretch almost looked like he pulled as well. It looked like the Bison had 3 offensive linemen in pull movement. There you see Jensen, Johnson, and Volson, 67, clearing it out. That was well done. That was fun. I like the way that was blocked.
You had mentioned it earlier, but Romeo McKnight has been handled today.
Oh,
he has been a non-factor.
It's
today.
like he's been standing on the sideline instead of into the game.
Lance is going to keep it on a design run again. Getting the corner on the outside inside Illinois State territory. Draco was the one that forced him close to the end out of bounds mark. And finally Trey able to run out of bounds at the 46.
But you just see body language after Draco didn't make the tackle. He's on all fours. His head goes down. You know, he's frustrated. He's disgusted. He missed the tackle. So that's what happens. It's just inadvertently showing your frustration and the fact that you've been beaten.
North Dakota State continuing to lead on this Illinois State front, but a nice play there by Zeke Vandenberg, taking out Johnson for no gain.
He's a young kid, impressive body, 3 or 4, 6'3" maybe, 235. He's played a lot of snaps today. I think in some of the tape we watched earlier too, you kind of saw him start to emerge a little bit as a player.
Had 3 tackles and a tackle for loss against North Dakota State last year in Fargo. 3rd down and 4. Lance throws, fires, and caught. Ben Ellison making the reception, enough for a first down to the 35-yard line. Quick read there from Lance. His big senior tight end wide open.
The biggest thing is you get to the spot on time. Lance is able at the top of his drop, look and fire because Elfson's where he's supposed to be. Generally a 4-deep type of a coverage with some against the zone, so there are some open spots already predetermined. But if you get there on time, you can beat both the safety and the corner.
Bison have converted their last 3 third down opportunities. Cofield slipped, lost the ball, and someone from Illinois State fell on top of it.
The big man who stripped it.
Yeah, John Ridgway. A much-needed stop in the first turnover of the day on North Dakota State.
It seemed like before the play was even snapped. Look at those big guys, Ridgway and the guy to his right, neither of them have their hands even down. So it didn't even look like they were ready, but Ridgway was able to make the play.
Cofield trying to make a case that he was down there to the official. They might take a look at it, and they are.
Well, it's a turnover play, so every touchdown and every change of possessions in a turnover are looked at.
Let's pause now for a quick message from the Bank of North Dakota.
My plan was to get a degree in engineering, and with the help of a student loan from Bank of North Dakota, I did. If you want to build something solid, you need a plan.
Bank of North Dakota, helping you achieve more.
So John Ridgway, we talked about him a lot today. He's been very active up front for Illinois State. 3rd on the team, actually tied for the lead in tackles. Has 8 tackles, 4 solo. How about that for a nose guard?
Nodak Insurance Company replay. Let's see if Cofield is down before the ball comes out.
Oh, it's close.
Really close. Whether you want to rule, see, but he doesn't.
Yeah, I don't
Is
think
that enough to overturn it?
I don't think so. And honestly, Illinois State deserves one.
They do. They really do. They had a touchdown that didn't count.
Taking a long look at it. David Siegel, the white hat. Getting word from upstairs, your replay communicator is Steve Evans. The evaluator is Don Borden.
Talked to him a little bit before the game. He goes, well, you look familiar. I said, Fargo. Oh, yeah, that's it. Game's there.
We see a lot of these guys frequently.
See, whether the ball is loose, you know what? They might overturn this, might not. But it looks like one of those plays that whatever was called on the field, you're going to have a hard time of making it clear to overturn it.
Well, if they do overturn it, Brock Spack is going to go ballistic. He's had a lot of things go against him today.
Tell you what, here comes the Bison offense.
Unreal. How about this? And maybe there was a better angle that they had too.
On the other side,
that's true.
After further review, the runner was down prior to firing the ball. It will be second down and 10 from the 35-yard line.
So what do you think of the replay rule, Coach?
Well, that's twice we've been wrong today. So the Bison have a second and 10 at the 35. Brooks finding a crease, bouncing it out. Boy, quick feet in the hole there, side to side laterally. And Brooks has a first down to the 24-yard line. 11 yards on that carry for Ty Brooks, who's now over 100 on the day.
Of course, Ty popped the big one, long touchdown run. That was that 53-yarder.
Still averaging 13 yards a carry, Ty Brooks today.
Kodak Insurance Company replay. Running with good speed through that gap.
Brooks following his offensive lineman, flying in to make that tackle. I believe was Romeo McKnight. Is that the first time we've called his name today?
It is, running it down from behind. Bison had success with that particular look. They went back to it. This time it only gains a couple.
Also see Jalen Sundell in at left tackle in this possession, number 72. Boy, Kobe Johnson goes airborne and dives across to the 19-yard line. 3 yards on the pickup. Already 4 first downs on this drive for North Dakota State. And this will be the 12th play of the drive coming up.
I don't think there's anything wrong with Radens. He's just standing on the sideline, just popped his helmet back on at the 40, just trying to get Sundell an opportunity to gain some reps, I think. Doesn't look like there's anything wrong with Radens.
Kapuris took a pop but made the catch at the 10-yard line and enough for another Bison first down. Jimmy Kapuris every week seems to get more and more involvement in this offense. Already his 4th catch today. That leads the Bison.
Again, you like the timing of this. Soon as Lance plants, fires, there it is. Kapuris is where he's supposed to be, right between those two players in that soft little spot in the zone. Picks up the first down and did take a pretty good whack at the end of that catch.
9 yards on the gain. 430 total yards for the Bison offense. Clark ridden down after a gain of 1. McKnight getting it on another tackle.
Since getting the ball back on the turnover that wasn't a turnover, NDSU has already run another 3 minutes off the clock. Time of possession obviously big. 2 of the last 3 times the Bison have played Illinois State, it's been over 36 minutes. And in this second half, the Bison have owned it.
14th play of the drive. Johnson ran it up in there, took a smack at about the 7. That was Charles Woods, or was that McKnight again coming in? That was Charles Woods coming in from his corner spot, yeah.
Yeah, Woods is number 9 and McKnight's number 8, so it's hard to differentiate those numbers from this far away.
Play number 15 on this meat grinder of a drive for North Dakota State. Play action for Lance. To the end zone. Open man in the end zone. Caught Ben Ellefson. Touchdown.
Touchdown pass.
That should just about do it from here in Normal.
Yeah. The front side of that route tree was covered fairly well. Ellefson was a little bit of a trailer. Lance uses Nash Jensen on a pull to buy more time on a little bit of a rollout, and Ellefson wide open and another tight end touchdown.
14th career touchdown for Ben Ellefson. Prosa adds another extra point, and it is 37-3. The Bison are rolling over the Redbirds here in Normal today. Ben Ellefson, his 6th catch of the season, 3rd of the season, and 14th of his career.
I'm out of the field.
I'd like to.
Back at Hancock Stadium, 7:32 to go. North Dakota State, a healthy lead on the road here in the Missouri Valley Conference opener, 37-3. Robinson getting the call. Bison stack him up.
Number 25, James Robinson on the carry. No gain on the
Talked about Robinson at 12 carries in the first quarter at 60 yards. Since that time, he now has 8 carries for 34 yards. So the Bison did a good job of slowing him down, and a bunch of those yards came on that run in the 3rd quarter that got him up to the 40-yard line. Davis dumping it off to Robinson. Boy, was that read well. And Cava was the guy that got in there and couldn't finish him. Dawson Weber got a shot at him, and Robinson is still running. Finally wrapped up, as we have some new defensive players in the game.
Yeah, he ran a long ways, but he actually ended up losing a yard on the play.
And Jasir Cox, I believe, was the one that got in there to make that tackle, and Cox has not played since the opener with a knee injury.
3rd and 11 for the Redbirds.
The younger brother of Jabril, number 31.
And he's wearing that heavy brace on his left knee.
Third and 11. Jake Cavavoy, he read that screen beautifully out of the backfield, just couldn't have quite made the play. Davis flushed out. Bison still giving chase. Davis just going to throw it away.
Into the stands.
Brady Davis now 8 of 20 for 121 yards.
James's pass falls incomplete. Brings up 4th and 11 for the Redbirds from their own 24-yard line.
Illinois State will have to lick its wounds here and then get ready for back-to-back road games at Southern Illinois and Western Illinois.
Here's your Nodak Insurance Company replay. Davis trying to find someone open against his zone, but you know what, Destin Talbert, number 33, did a good job of splitting those 2 receivers, and there's nothing Davis could do. He actually threw it into the stands.
You saw a close-up look of a very frustrated face there from Brady Davis. End over end punt. Bounces at the 48 and then takes a Bison hop to about the 44. NDSU great field position. Well, we come back. 5:54 to go in the football game. Bison just that far away from picking up their 26th straight win as a program. Whether you're buying, building, or refinancing, Gate City Bank home loans are locally approved, financed, and serviced. Gate City Bank, for a better way of life. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. 1st and 10. Zeb Noland in the game at quarterback, giving it up. And there is Kobe Johnson. Boy, this electric freshman just gets better and better every week. First down carry to the 29-yard line. See a lot of backups in the game now for both teams.
Yeah, Austin Avery, number 46, doing a good job of lead blocking on that.
Both coaches certainly recognizing it is a long season.
Yeah, this is step 1.
And the Bison will have another test at home next Saturday against Northern Iowa on homecoming. Big top 25 matchup today between the Panthers and the Penguins of Youngstown State.
I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in that one and looking at the video.
Johnson wrapped up from behind. Steve Podkolski, junior from Joliet, Illinois, making the tackle after a gain of 1.
2nd and 9 for the Bison from the Illinois State 33-yard line.
Podkolski missing 5 games last year due to injury.
Number 90, Stephen Podkolski on the tackle.
one of those guys is Brock Speck's trying to build some depth in that area. And one thing that Brock Speck did say this season is, I feel like of all the teams I've had, this team has the best depth. We have the most ability to lose somebody and have somebody step in. Ground game again. Sabian Clark almost got through. Still a good pickup there of 7 yards to the 27-yard line. We'll bring up 3rd and short.
Yeah, running a power play, Zach Kubas on the pull.
Gain of 6 yards on the play brings up 3rd and 3 for Bison. Illinois State into 7-yard line.
Quinn Allo also making a decent block there as he continues to make his transition from the defensive to the offensive side of the ball.
That was the defensive tackle's first few years. Clark again has a first down to the 20. Sabian Clark, excellent footwork down to the 10-yard line before he is finally taken down. And NDSU continues to punish things up front, now approaching almost 300 rushing yards today.
Down to the Redbird 10-yard line.
Nodak Insurance Company replay. Kubas with a block. One of the many. Down inside the 10. Bison well over the 400-yard mark in total offense. 475.
NDSU 4 for 4 on 3rd down here in the 4th quarter as well. It's just kind of broken the will of this Illinois State defense. Johnson on a stretch play. Gains a couple down to the 7-yard line. This copyrighted broadcast is property of North Dakota State University. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or distribution without the consent of NDSU is strictly prohibited.
You know what the rest of the Valley's not going to want to watch?
The game tape of this.
This tape.
Lukey leading the way, cutback lane there, briefly for Johnson. He is taken down by Jason Lewin at the 5.
Brings up 3rd and goal for the Bison from the Illinois State 5-yard line. Number 94, Jason Lewin on the tackle for Illinois State.
There's a look at Zeb Nolan. Transferred from Iowa State, battled for the starting job. Trey Lance won that job in fall camp. And Zeb dropped the snap on 3rd down.
Ball on the play. Recovered by number 8, Zeb Nolan. Loss of 2 yards on the play. Brings up 4th and goal.
I think NDSU might just leave the offense on the field here.
Run one more play, and if you don't get the touchdown, then you don't worry about adding three points at this stage of the game. It's not getting you anywhere.
Well, and again, we're under a minute and a half to go. We can take some more time off the clock. And I suspect Tyler Rowe will not throw the ball here on 4th and goal.
I wouldn't think so.
No reason to rub salt in the wound here. Sabian Clark is not going to get there, taken out about 3 yards short of the end zone, and that'll be a turnover on down.
The only thing that does is your fourth down numbers, because the Bison, I think, were batting at 100% before they came into today.
1:08 remaining.
Number 56, Kent Wilhoit. In on that tackle for the Redbird defense.
Backup quarterback in the game as well for Illinois State. Bryce Jefferson, redshirt freshman out of Indianapolis. I think Illinois State will also be content to just run a couple plays and get out of here.
Yep. Call it a day.
Number 3, Kevin Brown on the carry. Gain of 2 yards on the play.
Well, you have to say, LT, Brian Shaw, Lee Timmerman, thanks for joining us here in Normal, Illinois, inside the broadcast booth. And this was domination. I don't know how else you describe it.
So impressive, the performance by NDSU, not to give up a touchdown, racking up almost 500 total yards, 37 points, taking advantage of a turnover, building an early lead. Well done.
It's one of those things, too, where if you're Matt Ench, you got to be thrilled with the way this team performed against this type of opponent on the road to start Valley play, and certainly going into a big homecoming game against Northern Iowa. This is a step certainly in the right direction, maybe 2 steps in the right direction.
Yeah, and the Bison in the conference, the toughness of the schedule is front-loaded, so they have really good teams to play, and to start it like this, it's a tremendous day for NDSU.
The 2 head coaches shake hands, and Brock Spack will have to get his team back together and get ready for a road trip to Southern Illinois coming up here next Saturday. North Dakota State, as I mentioned, will host Northern Iowa next week. The Bison, 482 total yards, 293 on the ground, against a team that was only allowing 85 yards per game on the season. Oh! Ty Brooks leading the way, 9 carries, 106 yards. Adam Cofield had the most carries, 15 for 46 in the touchdown.
With today's loss, the Redbirds move to 3-2.
Trey Lance, another efficient turnover-free performance, 12 of 15 for 189 yards, 3 scores.
And I'm glancing over, I wanted to see first downs because NDSU doubled.
Carbondale is scheduled for 6
22 to 11 in first downs picking up. So, I mean, that's again, there's a lot of ways and a lot of stats you could look to show NDSU's dominance. You're doubling the first downs in the game, and especially in the second half when the NDSU just let them have it.
Let them have it would be a good way of putting it. Ryan Gellner down on the field is with the victorious head coach, Matt Entz.
Matt, if it was explosive the first half, it was dominant the second half. You really did a nice job hanging on to the football and then shutting them down.
We did. Our kids and our coaches, you gave us a couple 2 weeks, and the one thing that I warned them, because I've done it before myself, is don't overcoach and make the game plan too complicated, because as coaches you think you have an answer for everything, and there's never a one call that's great on offense or defense, and we needed just to let our kids play and get better, and I think we did. I'm sure there's plenty of errors. There's some personal fouls, some missed tackles, some red zone inefficiencies that we'll correct tomorrow, but I'm pleased with where we're at.
The guys in the booth were talking about it. This is a Valley win on the road against a really good team, and you blew them out, Coach.
Well, that's not what I anticipated, but players, they're the ones that do it. So it doesn't have anything to do with me, just the guys that keep showing up.
Over 500 yards of offense again this week, or almost 500 yards. Man, you got this thing rolling.
Well, you know, the thing we talked about, and I challenged our guys last night, yesterday before we left, and then this morning and at halftime, there's physical football, and then there's Bison physical, and I think you saw a difference today.
Well said. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Bison football, guys, upstairs.
There is Bison physical and there is regular physical. North Dakota State had the ball in that second half for nearly 23 of the 30 minutes and had over a 10-minute advantage overall in the football game today. And North Dakota State, by the way, winning its 26th straight game, which ties James Madison for the second most all-time, trailing only North Dakota State,
yep,
who has a 33-game winning streak earlier in this dynasty.
Yeah, back in 12 and 14.
It's been something to watch, boy, let me tell you. 37-3 is the final in the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. We'll step aside and be back with more from Hancock Stadium in Normal after this timeout on the KVOY KFYR Bison Television Network. $37-3 is your final as North Dakota State improves to 5-0 on the season and picks up a win in the Missouri Valley Conference opener as the Bison will head home and get ready for Northern Iowa. Coming up next Saturday afternoon, that is a 1 o'clock kickoff, 12 o'clock pregame. So be sure to join us all across the KVOY KFYR Bison Television Network. And offensively in the first half, North Dakota State was set up on some short fields, and big reason why was the turnover early on Illinois State.
Here's Brady Davis looking off to his side, and then Marquise Bridges forces the ball out. The Bison get it. Aaron Mercadal comes up with it. After the penalty, NDSU was still able to get this thing in the end zone. Trey Lance hitting who else but a tight end for a touchdown, as NDSU is able to just take it. A 7-point advantage just like that. You grab that edge. Illinois State thinks it has the ball and has a pretty good position, and nope. And then here comes Brooks.
Ty Brooks squeaking through a hole, and boy, there was nobody home for Illinois State. That was well blocked. Nash Jensen had a great block on that run.
66, Nash Jensen had the block on 50, the middle linebacker. You take care of him, you have big plays.
James Robinson still able to get his. 20 carries, 94 yards, but 60 of those yards came in the opening quarter. And that led to the only points of the day off the foot of Sam Fenlison on the field goal, and then NDSU right away took the momentum back on the long kickoff return from Ty Brooks.
Yeah, Brooks thinks he has an opportunity to take it all the way, gets caught from behind a little bit. I really like the adjustment he's made when the ball was in the air. He made a really nice catch on it, and just like that, NDSU was in really good field position again. Here's a power play.
In the middle of that Illinois State defense stout. John Ridgway a big reason for that, but Griffin Crosa continues his tremendous start to the season. A 39-yard field goal. He remains perfect on the season. Brady Davis was harassed a lot today.
Tuska stays with it. You know, that's one thing defensive linemen from NDSU would never do, and that's give up on a pass rush. And then Adam Cofield showing what he has really shown the last couple of years. He has an ability to finish.
Purvis makes the reception down the seam off a nice play design there from Tyler Roll. And it got the Bison down to the 4-yard line. And that led to an Adam Cofield touchdown run from 4 yards out. Able to work off his blocks and dive into the end zone. And at that point, North Dakota State was in pretty good shape.
And as good as that first half looked offensively, and it got better. It really did.
23-3 was the score at halftime. Then North Dakota State adding the 2 touchdowns and had a goal line stand defensively as we take a look at some of your final stats. Sponsored by the North Dakota Certified Seed Producers, and the rushing yards really stands out.
I mean, and again, this is a very good defense. One of the best defenses we think in the country, and the Bison ripped them apart. 293 total in terms of rushing, and the 482. Trey Lance again with another good day, efficient day. Spread the ball around, which he has done very, very well, and had 3 touchdown passes in this contest. And we mentioned it too. The first down total doubled. The Bison just 3 seconds away from 36 minutes in total time of possession. So let's just round up. That would be 3 of the last 4 times that NDSU has played Illinois State. The Bison have had that type of ball control.
We talked about coming into the game. Illinois State, 20 sacks, 34 tackles for loss. Just one sack today and 3 tackles for loss. North Dakota State did a good job staying ahead of the chains. Very productive on first down, and I know that was a big point of emphasis when Tyler Roll talked with us this week. Those stats sponsored by the North Dakota Certified Seed Producers. We'll step aside and be back with a look at some of your second half highlights and have your Nodak Insurance Company player of the game. That's on the other side of this timeout as we continue on here in Normal. Welcome back to Hancock Stadium on the campus of Illinois State University in Normal, Illinois. North Dakota State, 5-0 in the season, 8th straight win over the Redbirds in this series. The Lions have dominated that one in recent years. Brian Shawn, Lee Timmerman back with you as we take a look at some of our second half highlights today. LT, and first we'll take a look at the Nodak Insurance Company player of the game, and it goes to Trey Lance, who continues to be super impressive running this offense.
That's what I really liked. He did the head and shoulder fake all the way out to the running back, hit his man down the seam, and we know how well he can run the ball. And his decision making, I think, as physically gifted as Trey Lance is, his decision making to me so far this year has been the most impressive. He only had 3 incompletions all day, tack on 3 more touchdowns. He spread the ball around, 189 yards. And there he waited again for Ben Ellefson to have the opportunity to open up. And Trey Lance, the Nodak Insurance Company, player of the game.
And I suspect after a tremendous completion percentage once again that he will once again be right in the top of the leaders in the country in pass efficiency.
Didn't hurt himself today, that's for sure.
Other scores from around the valley. South Dakota rolling right now in the second quarter at home against Indiana State. And how about South Dakota State in a battle right here in the second quarter? Late in the second quarter, just field goals so far for both teams.
Yeah, you would think the Rabbits would be able to take that game and kind of dominate Southern Illinois, who I know that you think is a little bit better than maybe the rest of the voters in the preseason polls. Southern Illinois holding the Jacks out of the end zone so far.
We had talked about some of the other games on the slate. Missouri State, Western Illinois, just underway. Both of those teams really need a win after struggling in the non-conference. And then the most intriguing matchup outside of this one coming into the day, I think, was Northern Iowa and Youngstown State. How would these two teams match up? It's hard to tell how good Youngstown State is. Northern Iowa has been battle-tested with some very difficult opponents so far here in the non-conference. I guess we'll find out what happens today at the Unidome.
Yeah, and of course we'll watch that, and everyone else will watch that game closely as well, because that's who the Bison have next, is that team against UNI, and Coach Farley will bring him in next week. But he's obviously has bigger things on his plate today against the Penguins.
That's always an interesting matchup when Northern Iowa and North Dakota State get together. Let's take a look now at our second half highlights from today. North Dakota State got the ball first, just efficient. First down, second down. We're able to bust some big runs up the middle, outside, and then, most importantly, LT, really good on third down today.
Yeah, James Robinson, again, had some big plays. There he runs out of an arm tackle, gets past Hendricks. But, you know, he's going to get that. But he didn't get into the end zone. And the Bison were just so physical today. Love the work of the guys done up front. Here's Davis with one of his better throws of the day.
Yeah, Kasper Rukevich, the true freshman, was really the only receiver that did much of anything today. And this, again, we believe was a touchdown that was called short at the 1.
And then the Bison come up with 4 straight stops.
Goal line stand for NDSU. Controlling the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, Robinson with a couple of runs, and then Davis went to the air a couple of times. And Jimmy Football with another nice play there right at the end zone. That was the 4th down play.
Defensively, NDSU very locked in. Adam Cofield, as we said, had a strong performance today. Carried the ball around. Kapuris, boy, that guy continues to make plays out of the slot. And then Trey Lance into Ben Ellison for the touchdown, and that's what put the Bison at 37-3. We have a special guest standing by with Ryan Gellner, and that is Ty Brooks, who for the second straight week went over 100 yards rushing.
Yeah, guys, Ty Brooks, 9 carries, 106 yards, and a touchdown. Pretty good day for you, my man.
Yeah, it was good. O-line was blocking real well for us. Saw some pictures we liked and just stuck with it.
You had the 53-yard run. You had the 79-yard kick return. But the end of that kick return, what happened, Ty?
I got hawked. I got hawked. Can't say much about it. No excuses. I was slow on that play.
Did you think you were gone?
I did when I hit the hole, and then I hit the 50-yard line, and I hit a wall. And I was like, dang, okay, I got to try and kick it into another gear. And then I looked up at the screen, and he was catching me, so I got tackled.
Did you get a lot of grief in the locker room on the sideline?
Yeah, Coach already talking about I need to get with Coach Kramer and work speed and mechanics. So, yeah, I'm getting a bunch of it.
It's all fun, but you mentioned your offensive line, and, man, are they playing well right now.
Yeah, Coach Blazek has them real greased up. Even in practice, they come out with a different mindset. They want to be great, and they are great.
This is a Valley win on the road. Same thing I asked Coach, a Valley win on the road against the 6th-ranked team in the country. It was 37-3. Your team is playing well offensively, but defensively as well.
Yeah, we don't take anything for granted. You can come out and get beat any Saturday by anybody in the Valley. It's a strong conference. So we're just glad we got a win on the road at that.
Ty, I appreciate the time, and best of luck the rest of the way.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
All right, that is Ty Brooks, and we will bring in Jabril Cox, who makes his way over. Jabril Cox today, 6 tackles, 3 solos, a sack, tackle for a loss. Maybe the biggest stat is 3, and that's 3 points that you gave up to an awfully good football team.
Yeah, that's one thing we want to do is limit the points. If the other team can't score, then they can't win. So just holding them down to 3 points was a big win for us as a defense.
They had just 200 yards of total offense. It's super impressive.
Yeah, we could have held them down to less if that one big pass play didn't happen, but holding them to less than 100 yards rushing and over 100 yards passing was very good for us.
And keeping them out of the end zone, that's huge.
Yeah, that was a huge, that's a testament to Cold Green defense. What we do is just try to hold them off. No touchdowns, and that 1 3-point field goal was one that we're very lucky to have.
That possession just before half, where you guys kind of pinned the ears back, got after their quarterback, it really seemed to set the tone for the rest of the game. The offense started explosive for you guys, and it seemed like that possession on defense really set the tone.
Yeah, it set the tone. The energy was different after that, and the offense, we could feel that they were feeding off of that, so that helped the team as a whole.
Congratulations, man. It's a Valley win. They all count. This is a big one against a pretty good football team.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We're just ready to go back to work and headed for UNI next week.
Yeah, we'll see you there. Take care, man. Guys, back upstairs.
All right, thanks so much, Ryan. Man, that guy's a good football player.
Yeah, he is tremendously athletic. I mean, to be able to cover receivers downfield and do what he does. But I think the one thing we learned there is that coach has really got him greased up.
Got him greased up. By the way, North Dakota State defensively have now given up 5 touchdowns in 5 games, which is the best in the
year long.
FCS. That's not bad. We're in a lot of games. You only give up a touchdown a game. We step aside and be back with a look ahead at the next opponent and the upcoming schedule after this. Back to wrap things up here at Hancock Stadium in Normal, Illinois. North Dakota State 5-0 in the season, now 1-0 in the Valley. As we take a look ahead for the Bison on homecoming, taking on Northern Iowa. And the way the schedule sets up, the next 2 at home before back-to-back road games at South Dakota State and Youngstown.
Yeah, again, we were talking about it a little bit toward the end, but when you look at this conference schedule, it is certainly front-loaded, I think, for NDSU in terms of strength of opponents. And the Bison take care of Illinois State. UNI, traditionally good. Missouri State, well, you never know what the Bears are going to have. But then the Jackrabbits down in Brookings, which has always been a tough place for the Bison to play as well. So NDSU by no means can cruise into anything for the next month.
Nope, it's going to be a difficult road, especially those back-to-back road games. As you mentioned, South Dakota State and Youngstown, 2 difficult places to play. By the way, the Jackrabbits down 10-9 going into halftime right now at home. So a game to watch there in the Valley opener. Southern Illinois trying to throw a wrench into things a little bit. Other takeaways for you for North Dakota State getting ready for this matchup with Northern Iowa. That's always a physical slobber knocker of a game.
It certainly is. UNI will bring the physicality like they usually do, but I just keep going back to the term impressive. This was just impressive today. The Bison against a very good defense tore them apart. I mean, did we think the Bison wouldn't play well today? No, you expect them to, and you're not surprised by it. But the lack of pushback at times that we saw to this Redbirds defense, which is a very good defense, NDSU, they took them to the woodshed and let them have it.
Let them have it. It wasn't just one guy. It was a bunch of different guys, 7 different rushers, 5 different receivers caught balls, and the defense obviously came up with some huge stops when they needed to as well. Thanks so much for joining us all across the KVOI KFYR Bison Television Network. We'll see you next Saturday. Noon pregame, 1 o'clock kickoff on homecoming, North Dakota State and Northern Iowa. That should be a lot of fun, and we look forward to bringing that to you. North Dakota State 37-3 is the final. For Lee Timmerman, Ryan Gellner, Beth Houle, Alex Egan, Kyle Emanuel, and our entire crew here in Normal. I'm Brian Shawn saying so long from Hancock Stadium. We'll see you next Saturday back at the Fargo Dome.
It's the National Home Furnishings event at Home Furniture. Get up to an extra 15% off sale prices with instant factory rebates. This Langford table with 4 chairs now just $679. Plus, no money down with no interest financing until 2021 and free shipping. The National Home Furnishings event at Home Furniture.
Even before the excitement of graduating from college fades,
I don't know how I'm going to live and be able to have a job and support myself.
The clock on student loans is ticking.
It can feel really complicated and really overwhelming.
See how to learn your loan and avoid the pitfalls of a student loan grace period.
Thankfully, it's mostly all in one place.
NerdWallet and Investigate TV present Watching Your Wallet, Thursday on Valley News Live 10 at 10.
Did you know that each dollar you spend at independent businesses returns 3 times more money to your local economy than one spent at a chain?